Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 74 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joe Landy Pavlon. As always, Justin Heber, alongside me is my co-host, and Daniel Ford will be in a little bit. He's running late. And our special guest is Nick. NASCAR Nick 2488 is a YouTuber, diecast enthusiast, and horse racing enthusiast. His YouTube channel is in the description below. 800 subscribers. NASCAR Nick 2488 covers many interesting aspects of racing, especially compilation videos, drivers' first wins, last starts, little things in racing that people tend to not notice in a driver's career.
Yeah.
As for motorsports, this weekend has certainly set the tone. As far as NASCAR is concerned, the stage is set. 16 drivers, 1 championship, and 10 races. And they're going to be eventful.
Yeah.
So, Nick, before we go any further, I want to ask you, how'd you fall in love with NASCAR?
I mean, let's see. It was 2010. I was in 5th grade. I was going through like a flea market and whatever. I was walking around with my mom, and I stumbled across like a binder, whatever, like a school binder, and it had this man on it. It was obviously a race car driver. Had sunglasses, white fire suit with a logo that said GM Goodwrench. It was Dale Earnhardt. So I'm like, this is a pretty cool binder. I'm like, he looks like he's a pretty tough guy, a pretty tough guy, like a athlete, whatever. So I'm like, who the heck is Dale Earnhardt? So I actually remember I went home, I went on YouTube, and I typed in his name, and all these things came up saying Dale Earnhardt wins the Daytona 500, Dale Earnhardt wins the Brickyard 400, and I'm like, and when I saw how he raced, I'm like, this guy can drive. I'm like, so after I saw him race on YouTube, obviously he's long since passed away, sadly. That documentary, The Day Remembering Dale Earnhardt, came out. So after I watched that documentary, it said on the bottom of the screen when Speed was still on TV, the Daytona 500 this Sunday, like that. And I'm like, I'll catch that race. So after that race went on TV, the 500, I was like, I found my favorite sport. And ever since then, everything's changed for me.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great story. I myself and others have definitely found interest in NASCAR, fell in love with motorsports just through something as simple as walking into the mall and seeing a poster of a race car driver, just being in awe. Like, this is what these guys do. They drive 200 miles per hour for 3 hours around a track.
Not to mention they do it at such an old age too.
Oh yeah, that is definitely true. So we'll keep up with the stories later on. Everyone that is on the podcast, so myself, Justin, and Nick, we're all going to have our own playoff grid set. As per predictions is concerned, that will be later in the podcast. But let's go over some of the events that took place, starting with NASCAR. The Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona. For the first time in history, other than 1998, due to a local catastrophe in the area, which was wildfires, that the Daytona 400 was not ran on 4th of July weekend. Instead, a scheduled date in the month of August. And this was original. The pandemic had nothing to do with this date. Not only that, but this race had more stakes than ever. The Daytona track being a cutoff race for the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs was virtually a taboo 10 years ago. And especially with this system, and that you win at one race, finish first, get lucky, like at Daytona, can easily happen, you have just earned yourself a spot to compete for a series championship. That kind of dynamic is what we saw Saturday night on the racetrack, especially in those last 50 laps. But let's go over the race results. William Byron, car number 24, led 24 laps, started 6th for his first career win. That puts him in the playoffs. First win for the young driver. We're going to get more into Byron in a moment. Let's just go down the list here. Chase Elliott finished in second. Elliott was pretty much the bodyguard that helped Byron get off turn 4, clearing Truex to take the win. Denny Hamlin finished third. Hamlin led 9 laps, started in the 10th spot. Martin Truex Jr. was so close once again to winning this race at Daytona, leading a portion of that final lap, but he ended up finishing in the 4th spot. Led 14 laps, started second. Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace, what an eventful night he had.
Yeah.
He really leading that outside
line.
line.
Bring that up.
That charge to the finish. Then the contact, his tire going down, restarted 27th. First of all, I have no idea how they went forward without wrecking. I mean, they could have easily wrecked from initial contact with Logano.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows you how skilled these drivers are.
Yeah.
And Byron going 4 wide, I thought that was a death wish, but he found a place to go.
Yeah.
And they wrecked. Bubba Wallace comes back in 2 laps from the 20th place or something to 5th. Ryan Blaney led a single lap, finished in 6th spot. His Daytona woes continue. Alex Bowman led 1 lap, started 8th, finished 7th. Brendan Gaughan. How about this? Brendan Gaughan.
Yeah.
Both Daytona races, both top 10s. He finished in the 8th spot after starting dead last in 40th.
Yeah.
Chris Buescher, a very decent plate driver. A lot of people kind of overlook his talents, especially on these tracks. Just watch him in this year's 500. He had a chance to win that thing. Buescher finished in the 9th spot. And Brad Keselowski, the 2016 winner of that event, finished in 10th after leading a single lap. Started 10th. Now here's some notables outside the top 10. We're going to shed a light on Brendan Poole. Started 32nd. 15th place is his best finish in a NASCAR Cup Series car. Well done for that lead lap.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Kevin Harvick finished 20th. He drew pole, led 6 laps. Ran into some trouble. Daniel Suarez, 26th, led 19 laps, had a very strong car, but crashed out at the end.
Yep.
So 26th place for him. A lot of drivers retired out of the race. Joey Logano, 27th, stage 1 and stage 2 winner, led 36 laps. Started 3rd, was involved in that second to last crash that brought out the overtime restart.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch, 33rd. GE was really close to getting that second win in the Daytona Coke 0400. Kyle led 31 laps, started 11th, was involved in the big one that took out his brother Kurt. Kurt Busch finished 34th, led 1 lap and started 13th. And lastly, Eric Jones. Jeez, it has not been good. He really fought hard by leading 15 laps, and though he started 20th, he was to the front very quickly. Eric Jones retired on lap, or actually on the wreck with the big one. I forgot what lap that was. That was on lap 153.
I think it was lap. Are you talking about the second to last big one?
First one.
First.
Lap 153.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that.
Eric Jones, a 35th place finish. Well, which drivers that didn't make the playoffs or were close had their best shot to win?
Honestly, I'd say Jimmy Johnson because he was up front all day and he was actually, I think, above the cut line until that crash happened.
Yeah, he was. He was +3. He was really close, and then he got clipped when Logano spun, and people kept blaming other drivers. But I'm just people were. There's some people that are not good at looking at replays. People said it was just Logano, but I'm do you know it's Matt Kenseth hitting Denny Hamlin?
Matt Kenseth. How about Kenseth's late charge? If there wasn't
Here's
a
another thing. Did any of you notice Denny Hamlin giving Logano a shove going into turn 1?
That's true. Nobody noticed that.
But they go ahead and blame the Hendrick cars.
Listen. NASCAR fans are very quick to take things personally. They're no different from any other sport, but you definitely seen it. A lot of the words that people had to say about it after the race. But what about Matt Kenseth? He was so quiet. Missed the big one. could have easily. He was going to make the playoffs if he won. It was already guaranteed.
Yeah,
that would have been the upset special of the year if he made the playoffs.
Yeah,
right. I mean, we saw Bubba Wallace charge to the front, waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
What about another driver, Brendan Gaughan?
Yeah, running 8th.
Final Daytona race.
Yeah,
that's true. He'll be back in Talladega. That's what we know for now.
Yep.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember what happened last year? If he
Yep.
wasn't clipped, he might have ended up with a chance to go to victory lane.
Yeah, he was.
He filled out his resume for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next race, obviously the Southern 500 will be round 27 of 36, and now the playoffs to start. So it's a round of 16, race 1 to 3.
Yep.
We'll talk about Darlington and all that later, but let's take a look at what the playoffs look like. Brand new for this edition of 2020. There's 16 drivers of this. I'm going to read them off. So Kevin Harvick obviously will lead that with 57 bonus points. 57 points. So everyone gets 2,000 points when the regular season ends if they're in the playoffs. And then you add the number of bonus points that were claimed during the regular season, and then that's where you start for the playoffs. So Harvick has 2057. Hamlin is -10 with 2047 points, 47 bonus. Brad Keselowski 29 points, a 29 bonus. Martin what am I thinking about? Logano. Well, usually those two tangle anyways, Justin.
That's true.
Yeah, Logano is 4th with 22 points, 22 bonus. Chase Elliott is 5th with 20 points. That's 2,000 plus 20 bonus. That puts him 5th in the seeding. Mark Truex Jr. 2014 points. That's a total of 14 bonus. You can see where the stage wins come into play. Kevin Harvick out from the majority of the regular season during those stages.
Yeah.
He locked them up pretty much like Truex did in the first time we had stage racing.
Yep.
Looking down the list, Ryan Blaney, 2013 points, 13 bonus.
Yeah.
Alex Bowman, 2009 points, plus 9 for bonus. William Byron is 9th with 2,007 points, 7 bonus. Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, and Eric Almirola are tied for 10th, 11th, and 12th with 2,005 points with 5 bonus for each of them. 13th, 4 bonus points for Clint Boyer. 14th, 3 bonus for Kyle Busch.
Guys, can you give me like 5 minutes? I'm going to step away for a second because my dogs are barking.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
Do what you got to do, man. Kurt Busch, 1 bonus point to 201. And Matt DiBenedetto is the only driver with no bonus points.
Which, also, if you don't know, for the playoff points, the thing with those playoff points, for a win, if you get 1 win, you get 5 bonus points. But stages is 1. So Kyle Busch only won 3 stages. That's why he only has 3. DiBenedetto hasn't won race or stages, so that's why he has no bonus points. So that's why he has 2,000 points.
Okay. Yes, that is true. Justin, I will have to tell you that the playoffs this year are going to be like no other. The massive revamp on the schedule, only to be interrupted and changed multiple times due to a pandemic of all things. So now we're left with 10 races. If you're not familiar with the NASCAR playoffs.
But also the playoffs, the schedule is the same. The schedule is still the same. Except the Daytona road course. That was not the same. Dover had the doubleheader for that weekend. Daytona was on this. Darlington was supposed to be the start anyway. Well, the pandemic, we would have had Darlington as the start of the playoffs. But it's going to be different because there's no practice and qualifying. So if you go to places like Bristol, let
me read this off. Here's the playoffs. Sorry, cut you off there, Justin. But the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. You're right. I know that you definitely
Yeah.
Yeah. Have the point of drivers coming to racetracks cold, but hey, they're now experienced doing this.
Yeah.
This is not once in a blue moon anymore. They're all used to. All right, how's my car going to run on lap 1 in turn 2? So it's basically, I'd say that's the equivalent of getting your skates sharpened and not going to warm-ups before a hockey game starts, and then the puck drops, and now you got to break them in. All right. But yeah, the playoffs look like this for the 2020 season. You start at Darlington, so if you're not familiar with NASCAR playoffs, because we cover motorsports that are not NASCAR, so there are people here that probably don't know what the playoffs are. It's something that you don't talk about unless it's stick and ball sports, unlike NASCAR, unlike any other motorsport. Well, here we are. It works like this. The NASCAR Cup Series playoffs has 3 rounds of 3 races and a sole championship 4 race. The championship 4 race, the highest of the 4 drivers that are left wins the championship. But to get there, it works like this: 3 races is in a round.
Yeah.
4 drivers go home
after. Yeah. Yeah. And if people don't get it, it's not like ball sports where the other teams are not in don't play. But for NASCAR, everybody still races. Even if they're not in the playoffs, they're just there for wins or whatever they're doing. It's not like hockey where if you're the Detroit Red Wings or other teams, they don't get to play. But NASCAR teams, even if you're like Spire Motorsports, you could still race. Right. Stuff like that.
But, okay, so, and remember, this is if you're completely new to NASCAR, this format was created in 2004. It used to be like, pretty much all motorsports, just a full season and a full season points championship only. But it used to be just off points for the top 10. Then it moved to the top 12 and made a few changes. The 11th and 12th seed.
And then after
2014 present seed, and with the 2017 changes, here we are now.
The stage points.
Yes. So it works like this. Obviously, when you're in. But for the rounds, for the round that involves 3 races, the highest of the points move on to the next round. But during those 3 races, if one of the drivers eligible for the championship, still in the championship playoffs, wins that race, they immediately secure a spot in the next round.
Yes. Yeah. And points aside the rest of it, so you better be a front runner.
Right. That is correct.
Because you don't want to be, for an example, this happened last year. Remember the first round. Eric Jones, he had a transmission issue at Vegas. He got DQ'd at Richmond and crashed out of the Charlotte Roval.
Yeah.
If you have bad races in the first 2 races, you'll be in a hole.
Yourself out. Yeah. Yourself out.
They're very important. Now, listen to this. Eric Jones had a very good season in 2019. Those were the worst 3 races of the whole 36 race calendar.
Yeah.
And it was enough to throw him out. He was a favorite to move on to the 2nd and 3rd round and on from there.
Yeah, but those 3 races just hurt him, and people kept criticizing him, but it was not even his fault.
But it shows you, even the driver that's up to the par can make a mistake. So the races this year we have for the round of 16. It begins at Darlington for the Southern 500. Actually, if you are a core NASCAR fan like me, the last time the Southern 500 was in the playoffs was actually during a schedule realignment when Rockingham lost their second race and Darlington lost their Labor Day weekend date, which was very controversial. They put the second Rockingham slot for the 2004 Southern 500, which was actually on my birthday. I remember that when I was very little. Jimmy Johnson went on to win one of the chilliest races on record.
Well, in 2004, I was only 2. I was only 2.
The system was
Yeah.
different. That's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
The system was
Yeah.
way different, and that was the same year I became a Jimmy Johnson fan. And I started watching NASCAR as well.
I only started in 2007 because in 2004 I was only 2. I was only a 2-year-old.
So the point is that Darlington is on the schedule, and then you go to Richmond. Now, Richmond is not unfamiliar to being a playoff date. Oh, look at he's got to mute himself. Nick will unmute himself. But then technology doesn't like us, does it?
Okay, I'm back.
Hey, Nick.
Bravo. How are you doing?
Dude,
So yeah, we're
it's
talking
been a
about
while.
Darlington, Richmond, and Bristol.
Yeah.
Richmond, Darlington, 3 different tracks. Richmond's going to be very competitive.
In Richmond, some drivers are not good at Richmond. I've seen drivers that are not good. Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman. That's one of their worst tracks.
If you're a short track driver, if
Your last name is
short
Bush.
track, yeah.
Bush
If your last name is Bush or
Yeah.
Hamlin, then you have a chance.
Oh,
Yeah.
Speaking of Hamlin, we have a cup leech in the Xfinity.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that in the
And
race.
a lot of people are not going to be happy, but it's okay.
Yeah. It's only one. It's only him.
I wish there was another leech to even things out, put on the show. But let's move on. We keep on this conversation here in the playoffs. We're gonna do our NASCAR. Let's actually do our predictions now, our playoff predictions now that we're here talking about it. We'll go over other races later. Obviously, this one's a special episode, just like Indy 500 preview. So Darlington, Richmond, Bristol, we have a 500-mile race at one of the toughest tracks on schedule, Darlington. Then Richmond, a driver's racetrack, I guess, a short track.
400-miler.
And then the Bristol 500. First time ever with these circumstances in the playoffs. So this was actually scheduled part of the original 2020 blueprint.
Yeah, and also
drivers get eliminated.
Yeah.
And you know what happened last time we went to Bristol? We had a big one that collected a lot of cars. We had a dive for the win, but didn't work. And people angry after each other.
Third place driver. Not thinking about taking the checkered flag, just getting ready to talk about to the world about how he finished third and winning the race. Brian Keselowski.
I remember seeing them like, wow, that's a way to get a win to someone else.
I just hope the playoffs this year is actually going to be worth watching.
Yeah,
I think it will be. So
I hope so.
Let's talk about the round of 12. We have 3 races, 3 completely different tracks. We have a 1.5 mile oval at Las Vegas. Las Vegas 400 mile race. And then Talladega.
Oh my god.
500 miles of who knows what. I think it's explainable.
But
race for yourself. And then you end it on a road course. That's a Charlotte road, the Rollville as they call it.
Oh my
Are we gonna see anybody diving into the Tons Heartburn turn again?
Oh, I remember that. It could happen.
Oh gosh.
It happened.
Hopefully not like Brad Keselowski when everybody did it in 2018, because that was
going to be in a better position in 2020, knowing the 2 tracks that precede the Rollville in the round of 12.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then of course, then they'll be left with 8 drivers for the round of 8, which is Kansas.
Yeah.
Oval, similar to tracks like Chicagoland, Kentucky, and Las Vegas.
But then we go to Texas. It's basically
Texas
the same.
will be the last 500-mile race of the year.
Yep, and then we have the short track at Martinsville.
One of my favorite tracks, personally.
Yeah, short track before the.
And short tracks call for short tempers.
Yep.
And then the last race will be at Phoenix.
Yep. Which is.
I still think that's a big mistake.
We'll have to see where this goes. I think it's going to be interesting.
It's gonna be weird. I still remember what happened in 2018 from Denny Hamlin wrecking Kurt Busch and other people. I'm like, wow. Yeah, I remember some
Yeah,
people
I don't know, man.
I think the unknowns is going to outweigh everything else in this
True.
year's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
Yeah, and people's predictions were weird. I've seen weird predictions.
Thanks for reminding me, Justin. I have my predictions actually.
No,
Word
well, I
document.
mean, well, you're before the season. You said Harvick was gonna be out before the round of 12. I don't know why.
No, that was
That-
Armani that said that.
No,
Armani said that.
No,
Last
but like
year he said that.
yeah, but Joseph, you had Harvick out before the round of 12, so you would have had him just staying in the round of 16. Your earlier predictions. I remember
If you guys think that Harvick's gonna get eliminated by the round of 12, he's gonna have to have a horrible 3 races if he's gonna get eliminated.
Yeah. But I don't think that's gonna happen with how fast he
I don't
is.
know.
How stable they've been all year long.
Yeah, 7.
Kevin Harvick is doing this at.
Yeah,
You guys have to understand, he's been racing for 20 years.
yeah,
Isn't he 45?
he's gonna be 45 this year in December. He's 44, and he's
His fellow competitors are retiring while he's still racing in prime dominance.
yeah, 7
Who
wins.
knows? Maybe he'll be the next Harry Gant.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, Harry Gant. Yeah, 52.
All right, so I made my playoffs. I'm gonna let you guys talk about the drivers who you think will be in and who won't be in the 2020 playoffs. And
my playoffs are not bad.
Right,
Mine are interesting, but most of
all
these.
nice and capital, like how people comment on Facebook and NASCAR.
Oh my
capitals.
Wow.
I'm just saying that.
Well,
It's funny. So I'm gonna start because I'm the host. I'll give myself a cake and eat it too. NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Of course, the 4 drivers that are going to be out of the round of 16. I have Austin Dillon, Clint Bowyer, Cole Custer, and Kurt Busch.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna go with Austin. My 4 drivers that are out of the round of 16, which are Cole Custer, Matt DiBenedetto, Clint Bowyer, and Austin Dillon.
Okay.
Those drivers just haven't been consistent in the regular series. So that for them to be in the playoffs now, they really do need to step up. And I really don't see them stepping up. So therefore they're out.
Okay. Mine. I have Austin Dillon, Cole Custer, Clint Bowyer, and Kurt Busch. Because Austin Dillon and Cole Custer got in by a win, and some races they're not consistent. Bowyer is sometimes up front, but sometimes just running back there.
You said
Kurt
good
Busch.
early race car. Go on about Busch.
And Kurt Busch, it's like he could be there, but there's races where he's lacking on speed, which doesn't help him.
I mean, for me at least, I mean, you guys might not agree with this, but I think it's going to be Custer, Almirola, Kurt Busch, and Clint Bowyer. You guys are saying Austin Dillon, but Austin Dillon, you got to notice, besides that win at Texas, he has been running somewhat consistent in the top 15s in the regular season.
Yeah, that's
Almirola,
true.
he started the season off. Almirola started the season off running, I think, top 10s and like mid top 20s, some top 5s. But if you notice, he's been like downgrading a bit in the results as the season's been progressing.
Yeah.
Bowyer, I think Bowyer's just lost his competitive edge. And Kurt Busch, comparing Ganassi to last year to this year, losing Larson, they just have not they've just not been good.
Yeah. Yeah, they had Matt Kenseth, but Kenseth's been Ganassi losing Larson is not a good thing, which is quite affecting the team performance.
Mm-hmm. And then with Cole Custer, I just don't see him moving on any further because other than that upset at Kentucky, he's just not been very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my round of 16 elimination.
All right, so now to the round of 12. Obviously, tracks probably the toughest round of the playoffs because you have 3 different tracks, 3 different dynamics: Las Vegas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Road Course. The 4 drivers I have listed that are going out for the round of 12: William Byron, Alex Bowman, Kyle Busch, and Matt DiBenedetto. And I'll have to explain because Kyle Busch has been great this year. I just don't think the lack of bonus points is going to get the better of him. If he doesn't capture a win within that round, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Matt DiBenedetto is going to pull a really good run, especially knowing that Bristol is one of those 3 tracks in the round of 16.
But the round of 12.
Matt DiBenedetto brought one of the weakest cars in the NASCAR Series of 2016 at BK Racing of all teams. So a 6th place finish.
I remember that.
A 16th would have been a win for them anyways.
Yeah, but 6 in that car.
And he nearly won last year's race.
Yeah.
In the night race. So you got to take that in consideration. DiBenedetto's driver is going to race elbows out. He finished 2nd at Vegas this year, but I just don't see those other 2 races. They're going to be better drivers. Now, Kyle Busch is a tough one. Really tough, but I just don't think that he has what it takes. Even if he makes it through the round of 12, I won't be surprised either.
Yeah, it just depends because some races he was decent, but it's also the inconsistency.
Yeah. I can't. It's hard for me to even pick, but I know. I feel sorry for asking. The round of 12 is the one with Talladega, right?
Yep.
I see Matt DiBenedetto winning Talladega because you got to admit, ever since he dominated the 500 last year, he is a good super speedway driver. I see him making it, but I agree with you guys. I think Kyle Busch gets eliminated in the round of 12 because his season has just not been good at all. So I kind of see Bowman, Busch. Well, I see Bowman, Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney, and who else am I missing? Busch, Bowman, Ryan Blaney, and I'm going to say Byron.
As for my other 2 drivers, Alex Bowman, William Byron, are not going to go through the round of 12 successfully.
For me, I have Bowman, Byron, Kyle Busch, and DiBenedetto. Like the thing, like Alex Bowman, he's never made it past the round of 12. Which doesn't help him. Byron has never made it through that round either. And also about DiBenedetto, it's just I don't know because we have Vegas where she got a good finish. Talladega, it's unpredictable. But then we go to the Roval. That's it's unknown. And then Kyle Busch, like the lack of bonus points, he only has 3. Which doesn't help him. If I remember at Las Vegas, he was kind of up there, but not too much. And then we go to Talladega, he could crash out. And then the Roval, where that's also unpredictable. So, yeah.
We'll have to see where things go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I don't know where Danny went. I'd love to hear his round of 12 predictions, but I guess I'll have to wait. All right, round of 8. Now, the round of 8, of course, the final 4. We'll talk about the final 4 and all that in a few moments. But the round of 8, we have Kansas, Texas, and Martinsville. You have 2 fast tracks. Aero dependency is going to be important at Kansas. The last D-shaped oval, 1.5-mile oval of the year. Texas will be the last 500-mile race of the year.
Yeah.
And Martinsville will be a short track, matter of whatever's going to happen. Just
because we've seen remember 2017, like after when Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney crashed after the checkered. Yeah, and
what about what preceded that?
Oh yeah,
drivers using bumpers. Joey Logano.
Yeah,
Martin Truex Jr. Some drivers will be less afraid than others.
Yeah, like there were drivers. Yeah, and there was all those. It was chaotic. Basically, it was so chaotic in the Martinsville is like. It's also Martinsville could be weird at times. Like I've seen drivers that are bad at short tracks that randomly perform at Martinsville. I know it's kind of weird, but there's some drivers that just randomly perform bad at every short track, but Martinsville they could do good because Martinsville's unpredictable.
If you're good at road courses, which lots of them have hairpins, then Martinsville might be your track.
Yeah,
double hairpin.
Yeah, like remember AJ Allmendinger? He got second in the Cup Series in 2012 and
2016.
Yeah, he got second, which because he's also a road course racer, which really helped him through the corners.
Brakes will be put to the test.
Yep.
And we'll see a lot of trading paint for sure. But as of the round of 8, which drivers, I have out of the round of 8, I'm going to start with Eric Almirola. Now, Eric's going to make it through the round of 12, and his consistent numbers will be fine. He's going to perform well at Talladega. He'll do very good at Vegas. So he'll be in this position here. I just don't see him performing here. There are better drivers than Eric Almirola in those situations, such as Ryan Blaney, but I just don't see Ryan Blaney getting in.
Yeah.
Blaney has a good early race car. He just needs to be there for the closing stages.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott, it's going to be close. Chase Elliott, 6. I think he'll do great at Martinsville. Kansas is a track he's won it before.
But it's Texas, that race. The thing is about Texas, it's just like it looks like he's inconsistent at Texas, which doesn't help being inconsistent in the middle of the round.
And then sorry to cut you off, Justin, but I forgot to mention my 5th place driver. That is Brad Keselowski. Keselowski is these guys are going to miss the Final 4 by just a handful of points.
Well, Joseph, my round of for me the people that will get eliminated, I have Eric Almirola, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, and Joey Logano. Almirola, inconsistent, like you see, after he has a good round of 12 with Talladega and all that, but then we go to tracks that it's going to be tough if he can't be consistent through the round of 8, which that it's not going to help. I have Ryan Blaney. He has good tracks, but other bad ones in there. He's not been too consistent. Chase Elliott, he's just Texas doesn't help him. He's not I know he's a good driver, but it's just the Texas track doesn't suit his driving. Seeing him just run about. I know he got top 10 in 2017, but other than that, it's been not the best. And Joe Logano. The reason I have Logano 5th, he's been kind of. We're going to Kansas where he has 2 wins there, but that was many. That was
we should not mention that. We should not mention that at Fateful Day.
Yeah, and then we have Texas, where I remember 2015 that Texas didn't go well for Joe Logano, where he blew a tire on lap 8, and Martinsville, I know he has a win there, but I feel like he hasn't.
There could be better drivers than Logano.
Brad
drivers as hungry as Logano.
Yeah, like Brad Keselowski's won at Martinsville a couple times already. He's won twice at
2019.
Yeah, he's won twice at Martinsville, and That's why I have Brad going on while Joey gets eliminated.
Yeah, for me, at least from my round of 8, I see Logano getting eliminated because I just comparing his performance with like Keselowski and stuff. I mean, Blaney, he's been running good, but I don't think he's going to move any further. But Logano, I don't think he's going to make it based on like consistency.
Yeah.
I see Austin Dillon making it because I see him actually making it to the round of 8 on points, but getting eliminated in the round of 8. De Benedetto, I see his performance is going to decline at the beginning of the round of 8, and he's just going to get poor finishes, whatever, with the stress of like trying to make it onto the round of 4. I see that happening. And Truex Jr., I see him getting eliminated, honestly. I don't have any reasons. I just have a strange feeling.
You know, it's not wrong. I mean, the thing is, Martin Truex Jr. has more top 5s than the majority of the drivers that are in the playoffs, but they're not wins. He only won once at Martinsville, and Martinsville has been a track that's been great to him the last 2 times. Martinsville has been Martin Truex Jr.'s track.
Yeah, but
that's where I'm going to go now. But I want to talk about Keselowski for a moment. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano seem to be very intertwined, evenly on top performance. Team Penske is dangerously consistent.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in my opinion, based like comparing Keselowski to Logano, I see Logano being the odd man out.
Yeah, like thing about Logano, there's been races where he's just not even up there with the leaders. It's like Keselowski's charging down Kevin Harvick, while Logano's just about battling with Kyle Busch like for like 12th. While like Keselowski, remember at Michigan, he could have won that race. He was in the front the whole race. It's like Keselowski. I know there's a random draw, but other than that, Keselowski could start up front. Like I've seen Keselowski get penalties, like get sent to the back. He could still charge to the front. Logano has trouble with that. Like Logano, some races Logano takes like about many laps to get to the front. While Keselowski, he could get through the front and not make mistakes.
But you're also forgetting, I mean, I know this probably applies to super speedways and restricted plate tracks for Keselowski, but remember he said he doesn't lift anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That clear in an interview after a practice incident with William Byron.
Oh, yeah, so you know what?
Daytona 2019.
Oh, yeah, and then later, and then in the race, wrecks with Harvick.
Yeah, that was a race that Justin Haley, believe it or not, went on to win.
Oh, yeah, that race.
One of those races you go back to.
It's like, yeah.
No one would have thought.
I'm surprised that Haley didn't even run the 400 this year.
I know, you didn't get to defend it. We'll talk about Haley later when we go into Xfinity, but we're not done talking about the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs just yet. All right, so final 4. I'm going to start. Finishing 4th in the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series season will be Martin Truex Jr., the Joe Gibbs Racing driver. It's just going to be there. He'll make it through probably by a win at a track like Kansas. Martinsville is just so strong there. It's going to put him in that position to be in the Final 4. But I think there are 3 drivers that have a better chance of winning the title than Truex Jr. Joey Logano. Joey Logano won the Phoenix race in March, a race that would be the last of the world as we used to know. But he still won the race. Joey Logano is a driver that will muscle his way through Martinsville, stay consistent, run up front at Texas and at Kansas. Logano will finish 3rd in points. This is heartbreaking. Denny Hamlin 2nd in points. Denny Hamlin will come so close. It's going to be a really dueling battle between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick will be the better driver and win his 2nd championship in the NASCAR Cup Series, 6 years after his first championship in his debut season with Stewart-Haas Racing.
Yeah, oh, you're still going on. You're still going. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You can finish. I'm sorry. I spaced out for a second.
The point I'm trying to make is Kevin Harvick is so good at Phoenix. He's going to prove that dominance. It's going to happen again in 2020.
But you're also forgetting how Joe Gibbs Racing has been performing on the new configuration.
That's
Whether
true.
whether it be Hamlin or Kyle Busch.
They won 3 out of the last 4 races in the new configuration.
Mhm.
Kyle Busch, first 2, and then Denny Hamlin last year in the fall. The Joey Logano put a stop to their streak this spring.
Well, Harvick did finish second. He did. He was up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to hear your final 4. I want to hear your champions.
Okay, so my final 4 is I think finishing 4th will be Chase Elliott. I see that in the round of 8, I'm going to say he's going to win Martinsville and move on to the round of 4. I see finishing 3rd place would be Brad Keselowski. That his momentum from the round of 8 carries into the round of 4, but he has what's the word? He has like a downfall in the round of 4.
Yeah.
Basically, when they go to Phoenix, he's just going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Hamlin, I like you said, Joe. I think he's gonna finish second, as he's gonna be the bridesmaid again. And Harvick, obviously, I think he's gonna get his 2nd Cup championship just with his performance at Phoenix and how he's been performing all year long in the Mustang.
Justin?
Whew. Okay, for me, finishing 4th, Brad Keselowski, because Keselowski, Phoenix, I know he led laps last time we went to Phoenix, but that pressure might be in him and trying to have a good handling car, and also another thing that's not good for Keselowski, his crew chief, Jeremy Bolins, has never been in a championship for position. He's been never in that situation that he could win the title.
Yeah, I forgot Paul Wolf's not even the crew.
Yeah. And then 3rd, shockingly, Denny Hamlin. The reason I have him in 3rd, remember what happened last year. Chris Gabehart, he's a competitive crew chief. He tried to put the tape on the car at Homestead. That led him with overheating and bringing Hamlin down pit road to get it off because he tried to do something different, but that
gun punch.
Yeah, because I feel like they're going to have so much pressure in them that they might make some mistakes with trying to chase Harvick and him trying to get his first championship. Also, the guy in 2nd, Martin Truex Jr., the 2018, he did the same thing, finishing 2nd, but Logano passed him late. But I feel like Truex has been quite there at Phoenix, but not much, as Kevin Harvick is the champ, because Phoenix, he has many wins there. He has the most of any driver at Phoenix. He's led many laps at Phoenix. He's just so consistent, which really helps him, and he wins. So, yeah, he's going to win his 2nd Cup title.
The thing about Kevin Harvick is that the number of championships Harvick has is just a poor representation of his successful career.
Yeah.
How close Harvick has gone to winning that 2nd championship, or before winning that 1st championship. Okay, we got Nick back here. Is that if he doesn't win the title, he is very close to winning it, barely losing the championship, and that's going to apply this year. But there's a driver I think that may not be as consistent. Well, he's 2nd in points, but he is the hungriest of the final 4 drivers that I mentioned. That is Denny Hamlin. He's won virtually everything that is there to offer in a successful NASCAR Cup Series career. 3 Daytona 500s, including the last 2. There's only a handful of drivers that have won 2 consecutive Daytona 500s. Denny Hamlin has won 2 Southern 500s.
Wow.
Denny Hamlin has an all-star race.
Yeah.
Hamlin has, how many wins does he have?
43
wins this year.
Yeah.
And he's holding Joe Gibbs Racing in his hands.
Yeah, all I know is that he's close to tying Mark Martin, or he surpassed Mark Martin.
Yeah, Mark had 40, so yeah, he's...
Mark Martin. Junior Johnson's the winningest NASCAR driver in history to never have a championship.
He had 50 victories.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think that's gonna happen with Hamlin. I think he's gonna be obviously the winningest driver never to win a championship, and I think he's gonna be the modern day Mark Martin.
But he's gonna definitely be Hungary. Yeah, Phoenix.
Obviously, with this format, I just don't think it's been. I don't think it's been working out to his liking.
Yeah. It was like in 2014, he was in the Final Four. He ended up finishing third. What was the next year? He was last year. Got third again. Because, 2015, he didn't even make it to the Final Four. 2016 did not even make it to the Final Four. 2017 did not either.
It was close.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Oh, that Phoenix race. 2018 was eliminated really early in the playoffs. And last year he got third. So he only made 2 Final Fours.
But if he doesn't make the Final Four except for 2018, then he would be very close. Very, very, very close to making it. Just barely missing. We see that with a lot of drivers. There are more competitive drivers than any other year, I think, in the NASCAR Cup Series. But the stakes are higher. The unknowns are through the roof, especially with the circumstances, plus last year's realignment to the schedule changes. It's going to be authentic, and I know people are going to go against me on that because the NASCAR playoffs is an unfavorable system. I'm not a fan of everything that it has to offer, but the authenticity of these drivers and the passion in each race is going to be something you guys may have never seen before. It's going to be one to remember, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, let's finally move on and talk about the NASCAR Xfinity Series and go on to some of the other races that happen because we have a whole bunch of them. So the Daytona 250 obviously happened on Saturday. It was the Wawa 250, yes.
Yeah.
Place where people get milkshakes and cause havoc and then have to be asked to leave the place and end up on YouTube. Let's not go there. But yeah, the Wawa 250 was round 22 of the 33 race tour. There are 4 races left in the regular season until the playoffs start, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Xfinity playoffs start at Las Vegas because they only have 7 races in total.
Yes, Xfinity truck races require 7 races for a playoffs to happen.
Yeah.
And with that said, moving on about that. Yes, Justin Haley won the race. Thanks for whispering through the mic.
Well, he won on luck again.
Yeah.
It's if you haven't checked it out, Hunter has a video on his channel called Justin Haley Wins on Luck Compilation. Yeah, he literally made that. So, yeah. It's going to be...
my camera keeps turning on and bugging out.
Good.
That should be good.
All right. Justin Haley won. Stage 1 led 9 laps, started the 9th spot. That's his second career win. Believe it or not, that's only his second win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. In his mind, that's his second win at Daytona for the series. If you go back to 2018, and it went off for GMS Racing. He won. He physically won, but then the win was taken after he caught going below
and
the yellow line.
So Kyle Larson won after. And Ian was mad because Elliott Sadler was battling with Larson.
His old channel, I remember.
Oh, yeah, he was mad.
Impressed 48. I hope you're watching, bud. I hope you're having a good time. Probably not as good of a time he had, but just kidding. All right, let's move on. Greg Galding. Let's talk about Greg Galding for a second. Greg Galding led 2 laps, started 28th. That's his best career finish for the second time. That's also for the second time the best finish for Bobby Daughter and the team. And they both happened with Greg Galding. Second place finish at Talladega last year and a second place finish at Daytona Friday night.
Yeah, it's Greg Galding. I just don't people say, oh, he's the worst driver, but I'm like, have you seen what he's doing in Bobby Daughter equipment running in the front of Talladega? Joe Graf Jr. is not running in the front at Talladega, or Daytona. He was not there.
Let's move down the list. Chase Briscoe led 22 laps after drawing pole. He finished third. Fourth place was Riley Herbst. Herbst led 4 laps, started 10th. Harrison Burton, Herbst's teammate, finished in the 5th spot, rounding out the top 5. And then Ross Chastain, who was also led 1 lap, started 2nd, finished 6th. Michael Annett finished in the 7th spot. Austin Cindric finished 8th. Josh Williams finished in the 9th spot. And Jesse Little rounded out the top 10 for his career best finish. Happened for the 2nd time in his career.
Yeah.
Jesse Little. Here's some notables outside the top 10. Vinnie Miller, for the 2nd time in his Xfinity Series career, a best finish of 11th.
Yep.
Colby Howard's best career finish of 12th. And A.J. Allmendinger crashed out on the final lap after contact with Ross Chastain in his own 15th place. Won stage 2, led 58 laps. Boy, that's kind of tough to swallow.
Yeah, people kept blaming Ross, but I'm like Ross was there on the bottom. I'm like AJ blocked late. He did a late block, which I remember when it was single file, people are like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, oh, we're not the final lap yet, so you'll see. I'm like, well, we still have one. We're coming to the final lap.
Racing is against the law, according to the NASCAR social media police.
Yeah, with that final lap thing, whatever, with the basically you can just take the Family Guy meme where it's like, good, I turn now, good luck everybody else.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah, and then I remember seeing the crash. I'm like, because during when I make my reaction videos, I'm ahead of everyone. That's why I don't spoil it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and then everybody started seeing it.
Also forgot to mention about that last lap crash. Don't forget, Cindric also almost flipped over in that crash.
That's true. I'm like, oh.
And also, ironic too about Cindric is that he was driving an Odyssey batteries car. The last time I think he drove an Odyssey battery car upside down.
Oh.
Race when he drove for Jack Roush.
And he almost did that again, but he got in the air.
The car went down. If it didn't go down on 4 wheels, they would not have had a top 10. Let me go down the list here. Justin Allgaier, Noah Gragson retire double retirements, 29th, 31st. Both involved in crashes.
Yep.
They'll be back this weekend for the Darlington 200, round 23 of 33. We'll talk more about that in race previews. But as for the points, it is still Austin Cindric up front of the standings over Chase Briscoe. Ross Chastain is third with 860 points. Fourth with 842 points is Noah Gragson. Justin Haley fifth. Harrison Burton sixth. Justin Allgaier seventh with 750 points. Michael Annett is eighth with 663 points. Brandon Jones ninth. Riley Herbst 10th. Ryan Siegel 11th. And Brandon Jones is 12th.
Brandon Jones is not 12th and 9th. I was about to say Brandon Jones drives 2 cars now.
Brandon Brown.
Yeah, Brandon Brown. Yeah, he's still in 12th. He's trying to hold off Jeremy Clements. Clements is the guy in 13th right now.
How many points is Jeremy Clements in?
It's close. It's really close between.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to see Brendan Brown in the playoffs, but I think Clements is going to get it just because he has more experience on these racetracks and stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And plus,
it's going to be.
I'm sorry.
It's going to be close, but go on, Nick.
No, you go ahead.
You had a question about Brandon Brown. I want to hear it.
No, I was just going to say, hasn't Brandon Brown basically just been crashing every week lately?
It's been... Yeah, there's some races where he finishes, but there's other races where he's crashed out of the race. Right now, the gap is 32 points. Brandon Brown's 32 ahead of Clements.
I mean, it's all about coasting at this point.
Yeah.
See where where everything leads to. All right, well, let's move on and talk about the NASCAR Truck Series race.
Oh, yeah, that race.
Yes, the Car Shield 200 at Gateway
Yep.
for round 14 of 23. Sheldon Creed led 15 laps, started 17th for his third career win, third of the season, and is just creeping up that point standings ever so slightly, winning over Brett Moffitt. Brett Moffitt was hungry and very stable and consistent towards the end.
Yeah.
Sheldon Creed just had the better truck. Austin Hill, the points leader, finished third after starting fourth, ran up in the top five most of the race. Sam Mayer, best career finish of fourth after leading 24 laps and starting 15th. Stuart Friesen scored a fifth-place finish after starting 13th. Rafael Assard finished behind his countryman in sixth after starting 19th. Zane Smith, who drew pole, led 45 laps and finished 7th. Grant Enfinger, 8th. Started 11th. Ty Majeski, 9th after starting 18th. And Tanner Gray rounded out the top 10 after starting 14th. Now there are some notables, starting with Tyler Ankrum, who finished 12th. Matt Crafton finished 14th. Todd Gilliland, a bitter 24th after winning Stage 1, Stage 2, and 75 laps after starting 6th. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow, especially because he's fighting for that spot in points.
Yeah, he's battling with Derek Kraus right now. He's ahead of the cutoff, but Kraus is underneath them in 11th. So,
right. Christian Eckes,
yep,
much better in points. Had a problem and retired. Finishing second. And Johnny Sauter, vibration failure sent him out of the race in 33rd. It was a rough way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, one thing to mention about this truck race, there was history that was made in the field yesterday. Dawson Cram, who was driving the 41 car, he became the youngest truck series, actually the youngest car team owner in NASCAR competition at the age of 18.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Cram drove for the Rayon Brothers up until operating his own team.
No, it was Long Motorsports.
Yeah, he drove for Long Motorsports the last couple races, and then obviously I think I talked to him a couple of times. I think he said something that that he and his dad or something bought the team out or something. Or
because
something like that. Now he and his dad both own the team together.
Yeah, because I actually saw during looking through the points, I'm like, he has 60-some points, but I remembered he had 40 points. I'm like, wait, Long Motorsports had more had points. So I'm like, how does they have? I'm like, they bought the owner points also from the 55, transferred them to the 41, so they have the Long Motorsports points on their truck.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, that's the points look like this after race 14. Austin Hill, 549 points, still holding that championship lead.
Yeah,
that's 28 points over Zane Smith, 33 points behind, and third is Brett Moffitt, 66 points behind, and fourth Ben Rhodes. Sheldon Creed is fifth with 74 points behind the leader. Christian Eckes minus 78. Matt Crafton is minus 100. Grant Enfinger is 8th minus 127 and with 413 points and 136 behind the leader. Ninth is Tyler Ankrum in 10th with 411 points minus 138. Todd Gilliland, those stage points really helped him. And imagine what a win could have done, or even a top 5 or top 10.
Yeah.
To Todd Gilliland.
Mm-hmm.
Well, looking beneath 10th, as that's the cutoff for the truck series. Derek Kraus minus 398. So that is basically a good 11 or 12 points.
No, 13.
13 from Todd Gilliland.
Yeah, 411 to 390. Yeah, 13 points. It's not like the gap for Xfinity, which is 32. But there's less races. We only have 2 races. Darlington, Richmond. Playoffs start at Bristol. So, yeah, 2 races left before the playoffs for the trucks. It's going to be close between Krause and Gilliland.
Oh wait, the regular season ends at Richmond. Oh god, that's gonna be a
2 races left. It's just Darlington and then Richmond.
Yeah.
Might as well just start playing the Death March right now and freaking
Yeah, Richmond. Yeah, the Truck Series hasn't been to Richmond many years.
They haven't been to Darlington in 9 years either.
Yeah, the last person at Darlington was Casey Kane, and the last person to win at Richmond was Tony Stewart.
Yeah,
so it's been a good 15 years.
And also, some people have never been at Darlington.
Well, I mean, with Darlington, the Truck Series, the only people I think that have actually raced there in the field are Sauter, Crafton, and Greg Biffle.
Yeah, nobody else has raced there.
No practice, no qualifying. Those just happen. We'll talk more about that as we get into race previews, and the Darlington race will be next race this weekend, around 15 to 23. 2 races left in the regular season.
Yeah.
Just don't miss it. Whatever you do, don't miss the truck race at Darlington.
Except if you're me, with my TV network just not showing live races.
Fox Sports Racing.
Yeah.
My nephew's birthday falls on the day of that truck race. That way I'll be able to watch it.
I just remembered about, it's been the 2 Sundays, which we had Daytona Road Course and Gateway on the Sundays. That's when my TV network decided to air re-airs of motocross from last year. Of all things, I don't know why. I'm like,
or dumbest stuff on wheels.
Yeah, they do that a lot. It's like, I don't want to see that. I even contacted them. They never answered.
Honestly, they should just open the channel. All right, let's move on to some Formula One as race 7 of the 2020 World Championship took place in the heart of Belgium, the Belgian Grand Prix.
Just want to point something out. I'm not going to talk about anything with F1.
Okay.
So, you know,
That's fine.
That's fine. Head up and down because I do not like F1. So proceed.
Formula One will 7 of 17. Lewis Hamilton, every 24 laps for car 44. From the pole, his 93rd career pole position, 89th career win, putting him 2 wins away from tying Schumacher for most of all time at 91, and his 157th podium.
My God.
Obviously, now that he's highest in podiums of all time, he has a chance to reach in or even break Schumacher's records. All 3 of them podiums, wins, and championships in 2020.
Yeah, because Mercedes is fast. Do you want to know what I actually learned about Mercedes, what they did? Remember last year when Ferrari gained their straightaway speed? Do you want to know what Mercedes did?
Yes.
They decided to up their speed because they thought Ferrari was going to be fast. So they we're going to upgrade our speed. They're so fast in the corners and the streets that the other teams are losing a couple tenths of a second to them. And they're like, yeah.
I mean, it was obvious from the top 3, but for the guys outside the top 3, that's where the interesting stuff really happens in Formula One. To teach you a lesson there, Nick. Well, Formula One racing, it's not what happens in the front. It's what happens throughout positions 4 through 10 or beneath 10th to get those valuable points. In second, of course, you had Valerie Bottas, Hamilton's sidekick and teammate. Bottas started second. That's his 51st career podium. Yep. And third, Max Verstappen. And boy, his passionate fan base wasn't able to travel this year, but it certainly felt like the spirit was there. Max Verstappen,
he finished better. Finished better than last year where he crashed up in turn 2 last year.
Opening lap.
Yep.
37th career podium for the Dutchman. And here are the points finishers from 4th to 10th. Daniel Ricciardo. How about Daniel Ricciardo? Ian Perez 40. I know he's a big fan of Daniel Ricciardo. I'm sure he's probably
Ian's definitely elated.
Yep.
For sure.
Fastest lap, so he gets extra points on that. Started 4th, finished 4th. That's his best finish in the Renault since leaving Red Bull. That's Ricciardo's best finish, the Australian. In 5th. In 5th, we had Esteban Ocon, because
Ocon, I forgot.
Esteban
Ocon.
Ocon for the third time in his career, best finish the 5th. Ocon started in the 6th spot. Alex Albon, and the 1-year anniversary since moving from Toro Rosso, which is now AlphaTauri, Scuderia AlphaTauri Honda, to Red Bull, finished in the 6th spot after starting 5th. And Lando Norris, 7th, started 10th. Very, very well performance by the driver for McLaren. In fact, that's a big, big deal. We'll talk about that in the World Constructors Championship in a moment. Pierre Gasly, 8th. Sergio Perez round up the 2 points paying positions for Racing Point.
Also, if people don't know Pierre Gasly, he had some strategy. His strategy was so interesting that he, on the safety car, he stayed out, got a 4th, fell back because, so he took tires, managed to go through the field and get 8th. So he got driver of the day, which he was making impressive moves, including passing Ferrari on the straights, which no surprise with how Ferrari's slow this year.
It was embarrassing.
And even the Alfa Romeos were, and the Haas cars at one point were ahead.
And they run Ferrari power plants too.
And they're running faster. It's like,
when does the leading stop for Ferrari? I think the answer has to be 2021, or most likely 2022 when the new car comes out. Let's look down the results, Justin, before you ramble on about Ferrari.
Well, it's just funny.
Danny Kvyat, first driver out of the points paint position, 11th. Kimi Räikkönen continues his longest points drought in 12th. Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc, 13th and 14th. Leclerc obviously had a very slim chance, if any, to defend his win from last year. Romain Grosjean, 15th. Still no points in 2020. Nicholas Latifi finished 16th. Kevin Magnussen finished 17th, and that's the end of the cars that finished the race. In 18th and 19th, these two drivers crashed on lap 9.
Yeah.
Antonio Giovinazzi for Alfa Romeo and George Russell for Williams.
And people are like, oh, who finished 20th?
Carlos Sainz.
Didn't even start the race.
Nope, not at all.
He had exhaust issues.
Here's the thing. When we get into McLaren, we'll talk about the Constructors' Championship, where McLaren stands now. And I better hold my thought because I have to talk about the World Drivers' Championship in a moment.
How Leclerc thinks he'll get better, or that your prediction said that that Leclerc and Vettel were in the top 5 in points. No,
what about Leclerc?
Or Vettel. You said Vettel was going to get 5th in points, but don't think that's going to happen.
All right, and Hamilton is the world championship leader, obviously, with 157 points over Max Verstappen with 110 points. It's the meat of the Mercedes sandwich, Verstappen and the Red Bull. Then Bottas is third with 107 points.
Yep.
Alex Albon. Now, this is where it gets really dense here. This battle for 4th in the World Drivers' Championship. Alex Albon is 4th with 48 points. In 5th and 6th, it's a tie with 45 points. Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. Now, Norris yesterday, Leclerc had no points.
Wow.
Stroll is 6th with 42 points. So from when the 48 points to 42 points, that is 6 points apart. Albon to Stroll, Lance Stroll. You have 4 drivers with 6 points separating.
Oh my gosh.
4th through 7th. And then 8th and 9th are tied with 33 points. Daniel Ricciardo and Sergio Perez. And 10th, Esteban Ocon, 26 points. And then the World Constructors' Championship. This is where I want to start. I'm trying not to speak too soon about this. Never mind. Talking about it now. Mercedes, obviously, 264 points already. Walking away, they're already 100 points ahead of Red Bull Racing with 158 points.
Yep.
McLaren Renault, 68 points in third. Now, McLaren is third, right?
Yeah.
But 2 points behind. Racing Point finished the last 2 points paying positions with hungry drivers behind them.
Well, Racing Point's fast, so that.
What if Sainz had a car capable of being in the race and getting
points? He could have got points, but the thing is, it's trying to finish a race. Because I don't, like, we had, like, he could have had a good run, but it just depends about how he does at the track. Like, he does good in qualifying, but it's just the race pace is always different in qualifying. Except if you're Lewis Hamilton. Your race pace in qualifying is, you're fast at anyway. Yeah.
All right. With that said, let me go down the list here. Racing Point, of course, they had that penalty, so they lost points. That's why they're still behind. But Ferrari opened the door wide for other teams to go take the points that they really couldn't have because they just don't have a car. Ferrari 61 points, they sit still in fifth. Renault 2 points behind and sixth with 59 points so far. AlphaTauri Honda is seventh with 20 points. Seems like when one car does well, the other just does not.
It's basically Gasly collects the points. Kvyat, it's rare he gets points.
He finishes 2 spots out of a point spot.
Or he crashes out. It's crashing or get points or near
crashing
points.
Or cashing.
Basically, that's
your records. All right, let's look down the list. Alfa Romeo Racing Ferrari has 2 points still, and that came from Antonio Giovinazzi exclusively. Same things for Haas Ferrari. Obviously, the 1 point from Kevin Magnussen all season long, and Williams Mercedes is the only team with 0 points in 10.
Yeah, they're still at 0, which, well, and also, about other people saying about what's going on and all that. There's so many things going on with different teams. Teams are really performing. Like, remember Mercedes? Remember Lewis Hamilton had power issues? He said he had low power for some reason after after the safety car restart. He still got fastest laps. But, like, I remember somebody said, it's just the thing is, when we're going to Monza, there's a problem for cars that are under power. You know, Monza has fast corners. What our slow cars are not good on those corners. And I don't think Ferrari's going to have a chance for a good finish because Ferrari, it's like I don't know what's going on with Ferrari. It's like they actually once said, "Oh, we got new upgrades. They're slower." Like, I don't know what did you meant downgrade? I just don't know about Ferrari. It's like,
let's just say that they're going home this weekend to their home track for the Italian Grand Prix. It's this weekend for round number 8 of 17.
Yeah, and people are probably going to say
Tifosi ain't going to be there, but
well, it's like
coming home with a bad report card, and I don't know who has a strict parents or what.
Well,
like that's essentially how Ferrari must be feeling going back to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix.
Oh man,
it's like I remember. Twitter usually teams put like a thing like superb run and all that, and put their positions. Ferrari didn't put anything. It said 13th, 14th, and then the SSR Ferrari they put that. They had nothing to say about them finishing 13th and 14th.
But at the same time, it's not their year. They seem to have management issues, and if
also,
anything, it just doesn't click right now.
And also, do you know what another issue is? teams have. The teams that run less drag, like Mercedes, they're fast. I don't know what Ferrari did. They have a car that has too much drag, and the car engine is worse. But they just have too much drag on the car, which basically slows them down. Plus a slow engine, so that's not a good combination.
All right. We can talk about F1 all you want, but we'll get back into that for race previews when we go over the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, which is going to be race number 8 of the World Championship of 17 races this year. So let's talk about the feeder series, Formula 2. Formula 2 at Spa for week 7 and 12. It was an emotional one after the tragic loss of Antoine Hubert. Family and friends were there. Juan Manuel Carrera, who was severely injured and still recovering from injuries to this day, was brought in a wheelchair to the track along with the fellow F2 drivers and those from F1 to pay tribute to the late French driver.
Yeah.
This year, the race continued, and the feature race was somewhat controversial. Yuki Tsunoda won after scoring pole position, getting extra points, but Nikita Mazepin had a time penalty. He crossed the line first, but after forcing Tsunoda off the racetrack, he was given a 5-second time penalty and had to finish second.
But another thing that almost happened in Parc Ferme, the sign they put, he almost got another penalty for hitting it. He almost did, but he didn't. It's like, wow.
Was so close. I think there was obviously.
Yeah, but also, it was not like
a gray area.
Yeah, it's like.
You can agree and disagree from both sides of yes, he deserved it, or no.
Yeah, it's like
he should not have been penalized.
Yeah.
All right, let's look down the list of points finishers. So the feature race, 10 get points.
Yeah.
Mick Schumacher, third, the son of the legendary Michael Schumacher. Louis Delatraz, fourth. Robert Schwartzman in fifth with the fastest lap. Dan Ticktum, sixth. Guan Yu Zhou in seventh. Roy Nissany. How about Roy Nissany? Finally getting points in the 8th spot. Luca Giotto, 9th, and Callum Ilott just made it in the points position with 10th. It has not been a good weekend for the young Brit. In the sprint race, Robert Schwartzman regains the points lead after winning and getting the fastest lap. In second, Mick Schumacher. Guan Yu Zhou in third. Nikita Mazepin in fourth. Luca Giotto, fifth. Louis Delatraz, sixth. Christian Lundgaard in seventh. And Artem Markelov in eighth. Round out the points paying positions. If you're not familiar with Formula 2, the top 8 get points for the sprint race on Sundays.
Yeah, and also about Markelov, that's actually his first point this season. And also people wondering like what happened in some of the races, like if you in the feature race, let me just try to remember. Drogovic and Matsushita crashed into each other in the feature race, and then the sprint race, they were like irrelevant. Drogovic was in the race. Matsushita couldn't start the race because the car was damaged. Nissany ended up crashing with Dan Ticktum. People say Dan Ticktum's the worst driver, which is not.
I think he overshoots himself sometimes, or shoots himself in the foot. That's what I'm trying to say here.
But Ticktum, he scores the points. Galeo only has 3. I know Galeo's in
out for now,
but Jury Vips almost got points in his first F2 race. That's the thing. He's like, yeah.
Yes, and let's look at the points so far. Robert Schwartzman takes it back. He's now 11 points up Callum Ilott, who had a kind of a miserable weekend.
Yeah.
And third, Yuki Tsunoda. Points on Saturday, no points on Sunday. Mick Schumacher, fifth or fourth with 106 points, and fifth is Nikita Mazepin with 101 points. Teams points, it is still Prima Racing with 238 over UNI Virtuosi Racing with 214 points. High Tech Grand Prix third with 152 points. Carlin is fourth with 129 points, and Art Grand Prix is fifth with 123 points. and they'll be back this weekend for Monza Week 8 of 12. But before we go any further, let's do. We have to shed this guy some hands, man. This guy, Logan Sargent, for a Prema Racing driver. Logan Sargent is an American Formula 3 driver who is leading the points. He is from, Boca Raton, Florida, and might just be the next great American Formula 1 driver. There has not been an American world champion since Mario Andretti in 1978. That has been 42 years. And honestly, the attention the Americans have for Formula One isn't as broad as we've seen in other countries. And maybe Logan Sargent can change that. And if you remember Dalton Sargent, if you remember NASCAR a few years ago in the
Dalton
he was a decent ARCA driver, ran a season in the truck series. But Logan Sargent is the points leader for the Formula 3 championship right now.
Yeah. Over his teammate. It's close between him and his teammate for the points lead. Yes.
I think Sargent could capture it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what a story that would be. All right. So with that said, let's move on and talk some IndyCar for Gateway, the Bommarito Automotive Group 500K.
Yep.
Rounds 9 and 10. Rounds 8 and 9 of the season, which is currently a 12 race season or 14 race season, depending on the schedule. We'll talk about that a little bit. Race 1. Let's get into race 1. Scott Dixon won after leading 28 laps, started third, and that's his 50th career win. He's only the third driver in history to score 50 wins in American open-wheel IndyCar racing. With that, Scott Dixon is 2 wins away from tying Mario Andretti for second on the all-time wins list at 52. And obviously 67 for AJ Foyt. I would get him 17 more wins on that. But at this rate, Scott Dixon has a long way to go. In second, Takuma Sato led 14 laps, fastest lap, finished second after starting 5th for his 14th career podium. In third place was Pato O'Ward. Let's talk about Pato O'Ward here. Led 94 laps, most laps led, started second for his second career podium. Geez, that first win is coming. Pato O'Ward is trying to become the first Mexican since Adrian Fernandez to win an IndyCar race. And he's trying to deliver McLaren their first win since Johnny Rutherford in 1979 at Atlanta. Nick, I can't hear you. See him, but we can't hear him. Justin, are you there?
I can't hear him.
Join and come back. Sometimes it clears itself.
Hey, Joseph, I got your in the private chat. I said there the one driver was.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Let's look on the list though. Colton Herta 4th. Herta started 10th. Marcus Ericsson 5th. Rinus VK in the 6th spot. Ryan Hunter-Reay 7th. Felix Rosenqvist 8th. Tony Kanaan 9th, and this may be Tony's farewell weekend. Depending on what his plans are for 2021, we may see the 2004 Series champion and the 2013 Indy 500 winner call it a career and hang up his helmet. But we see the openness of Kanaan racing in the future in IndyCar. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Connor Daly rounded out the top 10. Connor Daly started in 16th. Finishing in 16th, Santino, I almost said Santonio. Santino Ferrucci led 22 laps, started 20th. Will Power started 17th, or started on pole, finished 17th, led 61 laps. Justin.
Yeah.
Your Nick's come back. All right, Nick, how's it going? Correct. We hear you.
Okay, good. I don't even remember what I was saying at this point.
Talking about Scott Dixon, Takuma Sato, pedal hard on podium.
Oh no, I said how it's a long time coming for that next win for McLaren.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so race two. Joseph Newgarden led 48 laps, started second for his 16th career win. Newgarden is looking for that third championship and second in a row. The young Penske driver is a veteran, believe it or not. He's been around for most of the 2010s in IndyCar, but he's reaching his peak. Pato O'Ward led 36 laps after starting fourth, finished second for his career, for his third, or his fourth. Actually, no, his.
Okay, I guess he lagged. Yeah, so we are experiencing technical difficulties, I see.
Oh my goodness.
So what do we do now?
I don't know.
Seems like you're the only one who's not having any problems so far.
Nope. Well, Joseph did have his Windows 7 on his computer before. Oh.
He's gone now.
Yeah.
So
yes.
What do we talk about until he comes back?
I know that Newgarden, he did win, and Pat O'Ward did get second. He was close, but
yeah, I was on my lunch break when I saw the end of that race. He was getting really close. Like the lap traffic was helping him, but it was just too late.
Yeah, and then third was Power. Will Power's bad luck finished with a podium.
I think he's going winless for the first time in his career this year.
Yeah, like the team is not doing like the team Penske wise is good. It's just like his crew and different things like his mistakes he's been making. I remember
mention possibly for the near future, we saw Tony Kanaan turn his final lap.
Yeah.
There we go. I completely my area.
Oh, I was like, because
okay?
because you were like frozen like that for like it looked like you're gonna start speaking, and that's when it froze.
So when you froze, you look like you were pissed off about something.
I'm pissed off on my internet.
Oh my god!
Yeah, Justin said you have Windows 7.
Yeah,
Windows
he had
10.
Windows. Yeah, now he has.
I still have Windows 7 on my computer.
Well, Joseph had an old mic that kept muting every time he went to talk. He kept
I'm not
muting
using my computer. Why do you think I'm using my phone?
Yeah. Which.
Yeah. So Joe, basically, when you lagged out, we just mentioned how Newgarden won, how Pat catching him within the final laps, how the lap traffic didn't play too well for Will Power.
Yeah.
And basically,
yeah, that's right.
And also how Tony Kanaan possibly turned his final laps in IndyCar for the near future.
Yeah.
Anything else to add about IndyCar? Because I didn't really watch the races this weekend because of me working.
Well, I think this really sets the tone for the championship because now that we're in the second half of the season.
Yeah, and
the last races anyway.
Well, yeah, that's where I'm going to get into now. The next race is either the Mid-Ohio Grand Prix for rounds 10 and 11 of 14, or on 2nd of October, the Indy Harvest Grand Prix at the Indy Road Course for rounds 10 and 11 of 12. That's still yet to be determined.
Because I heard rumors about it during the pre-race show yesterday of IndyCar. Jay Fry, the IndyCar president, was saying about that they're 90% possibly sure about having Mid-Ohio there. So we could have Mid-Ohio on the schedule.
They're closing in on making a deal.
It all depends on how Ohio's doing with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right, they said no first. They don't want to say no again.
Like how New York is with the pandemic, we didn't get to go to Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
Right, Mid-Ohio had to say goodbye to NASCAR and IMSA racing.
Yeah.
Lost so many good races this year with the stupid pandemic.
Same with Watkins Glen. They're really taking hits. All right. Well, the National Open Wheel Championship, or also known as the IndyCar Championship, looks like this. Scott Dixon pulling away, looking for that 6th championship. And Dixon, of course, leads the IndyCar points battle with 416 points over, or not 416 points over. That's not, I'm not doing math, but 320 points. That's almost 200 points or 100 points.
No, yeah, it's 96, but
96.
But
196, 96.
But before race 2, it was 117. So Dixon lost 21 points. Yeah, Newgarden only gained 21 in that one race. He asked for Newgarden to catch up rapidly. It's basically him winning and Dixon retiring out of races. That's the only way, but
yeah, either Dixon retiring from the next couple races, or him just somehow getting fired from Ganassi.
All right. Joseph Newgarden, of course, second, 320 points. In third is Pato O'Ward with 297 points. Takuma Sato, fourth with 274. Both drivers having very good weekends. Colton Herta, fifth with 250 points. And sixth is Simon Pagenaud with 237. Graham Rahal, 1 point back with 236. And seventh, Will Power is eighth with 226 points. Santino Ferrucci is ninth with 216 points. And Felix Rosenquist is 10th with 208 points. So that sets the tone.
I mean, I just see Dixon. I just see him pulling away with it. I don't see any challenge from Newgarden.
Yeah,
Ian Press says hi.
Who says hi?
Ian Press 48.
Why does that name sound so familiar?
Yes. Subscribe to his channel. That's what we need to do.
No, do not. I beg you, do not subscribe to that channel. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. I know you're kidding.
Well, I just remember about Daytona where when Eric Jones got sideways, I couldn't even speak. I
was like talking to Tyler, like, don't do it.
But you should have seen when Bubba Wallace was going for the lead. My hands went like this. I'm not kidding. When I saw him going for the lead, I did this. I was like, come on. And then all thanks to Hamlin, there goes Logano up the racetrack. Bubba's into the wall, and then all hell.
How they did not wreck right away, I have no idea. But then that second,
Bubba knows how to drive.
And I remember Byron cutting 4 wide.
I'm like, oh.
That was actually the winning move. Or the first of 2 winning moves. Second winning move was fending off Truex.
But it's like for me, I just don't get why. When Eric Jones got sideways earlier, I remember I couldn't even speak. I just said a bunch of words together, and then nobody. I looked, and then Ian didn't even understand what I was saying.
Oh,
this video. Go ahead and give it a like.
Yeah.
You should have seen during the 500.
Oh, he's there.
Wait, what? Wait, what happened?
I thought you were about to freeze out. You're good.
Oh, no. During the 500 year, I was FaceTiming with a friend of mine, and that last big one where you saw like Chastain turn Priest. My friend who's like a diehard Ryan Priest fan, he heard me gasp and scream. And he's like, what's going to happen? I ended up hanging up on him because I didn't want to hear him flip out when he saw Priest going into the wall. And then he calls me back after the crash. He's like, I see why you hung up.
Oh,
All right. Let's move on to some racing overseas for the Australian Supercars Championship. The Townsville SuperSprint Part 1 will be back here this weekend, so it's a two-part weekend. And now the schedule has changed drastically. For the first time since 2000, the Bathurst 1000 will be the season closing race. We'll get into that a little bit later. Week 7 of the season, week 7 of 11, 7-11, and rounds 19, 20, and 21 of 31. So now we have 31 races in 11 weeks. Race 1, Jamie Whincup led 35 laps from the pole for his 121st career win. What a number. Cam Waters finished second after leading 6 laps for his fourth career podium. Started fourth. No, it's his 13th podium. He started fourth. I can't read my notes. Third, Chas Mostert. 52nd career podium after starting third. Fabian Coulthard, fourth after starting sixth. And the highest DJR Penske driver, believe it or not. It's not McLaughlin for that one. And fifth, David Reynolds after starting second. Race 2. Jamie Whincup once again won that event, leading 34 laps from the pole. His 122nd career win. What numbers, man. Chas Mostert came home second after starting second for his 56th career podium. I don't know why I said 52nd, but 55th was race 1. 56th podium was race 2. And third, Shane Van Gisbergen scored his 112th career podium after starting 7th. Cam Waters finished started 4th. Nick Percat finished in 5th after starting 9th. Scott Pye led 5 laps, finished 9th after starting 19th. And that's what you need to know for race 2. Race 3, to close the weekend, it was not Jamie Whincup. So no weekend sweep like we saw last time for part 2 at Darwin. Scott McLaughlin picked up his 52nd career win after leading 30 laps from the pole, delivering that win for the DJR Team Penske Ford Mustang. And second, Cam Waters. Waters finished Ian Perez 48. How the hell did you get here? Cam Waters, 14th career podium. Jamie Whincup, his 248th career podium. Nick Percat, 4th. Todd Hazelwood, 5th. Ian, how the hell did you get here?
Hey, what is up? I never expected to be here. I saw Nick being here, and I'm like, hey, what's up, guys?
I know it's
Well, Joseph, remember, you have the link in the Skype group. Remember, you put
That
it
is
in.
true.
And you guys kept asking me to join for the longest time. Like, hey, I'll be the guest of the show one day.
Here you are.
I'm like, hey, I'll stop by. Hello.
Guys, I'm just gonna step out for a second, real quick. Gotta check this out. Be right back.
Hey, Nick.
Ian
I
Perez
did not
48
mean
is one
to.
of my good friends.
Hey, I did not mean to like interrupt. I'm just, hey, what's up?
Subscribe to Ian Press 48 if you haven't. He posts great content. If you like NASCAR fans being explicitly open about how they feel about the sport, this guy is the one to watch.
I do motorsports content.
Motorsport content.
And also, I'm almost to 500 again.
My voice is in the background. So if someone likes to play the podcast
Jesus.
on YouTube.
I almost fell off my chair. Dale Jr. statue.
Dale Jr.
Oh,
said-
Dale.
All right, so let's talk about real quick. I was just about to finish on supercars. The standings look like this. It's still Scott McLaughlin with 1,556 points over Jamie Whincup, 1,433 points. Chas Mostert third with 1,172 points. Shane Van Gisbergen and Cam Waters are actually tied for fourth and fifth with 1,157 points. Teams Championship. Jamie Whincup actually helped bring back Triple Eight Race Engineering to the points lead in the teams with 2,590 points over 2,590 points to be mathematically correct. DJRT Penske second with 2,574 points. Tickford 23 entry is third. Europe is fourth, and the Tickford main entry is in fifth. They'll be back this weekend for Townsville Part 2, Townsville SuperSprint, week 8 of 11, rounds 22, 23, 24 of this 31 race season. All right, Ian. How's that Daytona race? I know most of you guys who watch us watched his reactions video. Do you think this is a
Honestly,
good
I wanted to do
Daytona?
well. Honestly, I wanted to do a video about the Daytona races because I love the racetracks. My all-time favorite track in motorsports, and I wanted to do a review about that, but I'll get around to it whenever. But I think the weekend it's all right. The Xfinity race was all right. It was decent. Like, okay, the first couple of stages, whatever. There were some good moments. Not the worst race, but it was still pretty enjoyable.
Now, I want to ask you this one question because everyone wants you to answer specifically why do you strongly dislike the NASCAR playoff system that is put out in these final 10 races of the season? What is your claim?
I wanted to do a video about it for the longest time, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Here we go, Ian. Come on, tell us. This time on Squidward chat.
Oh my god. All right. The problem I have with the chase, obviously, the first reason, Brian France. The problem I have about it is that the way NASCAR is now when he was in charge, it's just a stick and ball sports on wheels. That's the biggest problem I have about it as a motorsports fanatic. As much as of course, I adore the non-chase. When I got into NASCAR Middle 9, I didn't mind the no chase for nationwide trucks. I didn't honestly, I was new to the sport. I didn't really get anything at the time. Honestly, chase wise, I liked the non-elimination format because points don't matter, and because NASCAR wanted a closer championship battle and winning matters. There you go. Hey, problem solved. And then 2014, that's when things started to crash down about it. The elimination formats.
Yeah.
It's just a gimmick fest. I know I've been very voiceable about it. I made a new one. I know I've been very voiceable about it. It's just that Brian France is obviously the reason why NASCAR declined all the way down.
Right. Well, I know Brian France has been kind of this. I know people have gone to him. They've gone to even Bruton Smith and other members of NASCAR community, Steve O'Donnell. But if you just look at it now, have the changes of the sport, and if you look the outside looking in, if you're a Formula One fan coming into NASCAR and you see this format and saying, "Wow, all he has to do is win." What about the other 26 races, or what about these next 2 races, or the 3 guys finished behind him? And, he's the champion.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to consistency or made the best driver win a championship by having that perfect season?
Yeah.
I think being a champion in no chase goes by most points, most top 5s and 10s, and average finishes. I like that. I hate that people I can understand why some people do not some champions being crowned early. I know it's a turn off to some, but honestly, I don't mind it because hey, we got a fair champion being crowned. They deserve the most. They were that dominant. Hell, if Scott Dixon wins the championship early, a race before St. Petersburg, hey, I'll be way to go, Scott Dixon. Even in Formula One, when Hamilton won early a bunch of times, hey, he still deserved it. I know he's dominant, and I know domination's always a turnoff, and not only motorsports, but sports in general. That's always going to happen. I don't complain about domination in motorsports because it's always going to happen, and I can live with that.
This is the thing about domination in sports. Maybe I think the accountability for hatred towards an athlete who wins too much or succeeds too much, or a team that wins too much. We saw as the Golden State Warriors in the mid 2010s. Seeing that with the Lakers in the 2000s, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s.
Yeah.
And just the sheer dominance of one team. The New England Patriots. Of course, I'm a Patriots fan, so I can't really say much from the other side looking in.
Well,
maybe things will change without Tom Brady, but the point is that is domination too much of a turn off for fans these days with how much they want to get something out of watching something?
It's just, all right, well, that's a ball sports thing. Like, hey, having the playoffs in ball sports, it honestly makes sense. Like, I only watch baseball. I'm a casual Yankees fan, and I can understand playoffs in baseball. I don't even watch other stick and ball sports, and I can understand why they have a playoff system. I understand 100% on those, but in racing, it's not it for racing, except for the non-elimination chase in NASCAR in the Cup Series only. Like, playoffs do not belong in motorsports.
Yeah.
Like during the Brian France era, there's always been a lot of they never learned about the if it ain't broken, don't fix it. It's just with Brian as well. The another problem I had with NASCAR when he was in charge, like he always attracted show seeker fans and continued to abandon motorsports fanatics. And like I just finished making a video about story about someone knowing Brian France. Let's just say that's the only hint I'll give you for racing stories. What Brian did, what made NASCAR completely go down was just not only attract show seeker fans, it's just turning NASCAR into whatever this is now. And I don't recognize NASCAR as a racing series, and that's sad. Wait, what?
Turning into a vanilla. You know, a
soap operas on wheels, sticking ball sports on wheels. You name it. And I'm not gonna stop watching the sport because I've been through a lot of hell while watching NASCAR. Like, I'm dedicated, and I believe like Brian France gone. This is a chance for motorsports fans to voice what we want and what made NASCAR work. If they don't want to bring back the non-chase format, and they want to bring back the non-elimination chase format, I'm all in. I don't care. Like as long as huh?
I have one more question before I'm going to let Justin ask Ian about his. How do you think this new management in motorsports, especially with NASCAR? I mean, when I say motorsports, Liberty Media in Formula One, or NASCAR, Jim France taking over, new ownership roles by Steve O'Donnell, diversity program, just everything in the sport. How do you think about the way they have handled NASCAR since 2018?
What Jim has done so far, I know it's slow process, but he's been doing a good job. And obviously, he's a CEO of IMSA. He has a lot of motorsports business experience. And I know it's going to take forever to fix NASCAR, but hopefully the way will be worth it.
All right. Justin and Nick, I'm going to let you guys ask Ian if you guys have any questions in the live chat. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a question for Ian, but I'll tell him this.
He stepped up. We'll continue this discussion then. I think a lot of fans who are new to the sport don't really understand the changes because they didn't really live through the changes that NASCAR made throughout the last 17 years when Brian France took over.
I mean, NASCAR has made some dopey changes. I mean, remember that stupid caution clock?
Oh yeah, that rule in 2016.
I mean, I miss the format, honestly. I miss the old like Winston Cup format, like Ian said.
Like
champion would get announced like a race early. That's what made it exciting.
Yeah, like better than like waiting till the final race. It's like the old format. Like you had to have consistency. Like 2003, Ryan Newman had the most wins with 8, but he didn't win the championship because Matt Kenseth took it because Kenseth only had that one lone victory, but consistency helped Kenseth.
That's what brought the chase in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically another rule that I really hate about NASCAR is they took away the racing back to the line rule after Dale Jarrett's crash at Loudon, I think, in 2003. They say they're not going to do that ever again. It goes back to the last scoring loop. But all of a sudden, within the last 5 years, they start racing back to the line again. I don't get that. Remember 2015 Daytona? They wreck on the backstretch. Larson wrecks, Gordon wrecks. They throw the caution. 2015 Talladega, where Dale Jr. won. They wreck on the backstretch, no caution.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's that inconsistency with different. It's the same thing with It's also the same thing with last year at Talladega last year, which the first wreck, which was Stenhouse in the front straightaway, they didn't throw a yellow because he was off the track, but then Kyle Larson flipped over, had the big one there. They threw out the caution because there was a car flipping and many cars involved.
There had been races though where cars flipped in the final lap, but they didn't throw a caution.
Yeah, that's true. It's just those inconsistencies. I've seen races where there's been heavy crashes and no caution, but I've seen races where there's not many cars in a crash and they throw out the yellow.
What about Watkins Glen 2011? David Ruderman flips into the guardrail and nearly hits the catch.
Yeah.
There was no caution, but then they throw a caution for Tony Stewart spinning through the S's.
Yeah, that's just
not
really...
the S's, the chicane.
Yeah, that's weird because a flip is a bigger crash than a spin. It's Tony then spun off the track with nobody, but when Ruderman was on the racetrack, he flipped, but there was no...
All right, I'm back, and you guys talking about racing back to the line.
Yeah.
The thing with racing back to the line is that, to be honest, many drivers and teams, especially fans from other motorsports, thought this was a foolish rule. I mean, and that it was long overdue. And the real reason why they had the rules is because they needed to find a place on the track to record positions. And only one place at the time, which is the line, could do that.
I mean, I remember Benny Parsons. He absolutely hated it. He hated the whole racing back to the line thing.
Right. And Benny Parsons was part of the NBC team. Ian, welcome back.
He's still muted.
Yeah, a few minutes left. Ian's just getting his stuff ready.
I don't know. Obviously, what I wanted to say to Ian is this: it's not a question or anything. But did you know that Derek Kraus is doing a Ron Hornaday throwback at Darlington?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, because I know you're a diehard Hornaday fan.
It's been my truck driver since I got into the sport.
I mean, honestly, these throwbacks, I kind of like them. I mean, Yaley's throwback to Kenny Irwin looks pretty sick.
Yeah.
But did you guys see John Henry Nemechek's throwback to Elliott Sadler? Oh my, that's just so dull.
Yeah.
You couldn't have at least done your dad, his dad's Richmond win from 2003 or something, or his first win in the Bell South car.
Yeah.
As a fan of Elliott Sadler, this Elliott Sadler throwback. Oh my.
Yeah.
Makes me happy.
Christopher Bell's throwing back to his truck championship.
And Suarez is throwing well.
I like the scheme, but I don't call it a throwback, honestly.
Suarez to himself. Suarez says his
Ryan Vargas is throwing back to Jimmy Johnson's Excedrin car from 2001.
Yep.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, and who is it? Oh, Creed has the Jimmy Johnson's the when he drove the off-road trucks. That's the throwback scheme for Creed.
when I saw that scheme, I thought that was a scheme for Mike Stefanik when he used to drive the 66 truck. Another thing I wanted to say is that I'm actually working on a YouTube video of sponsors you forgot were in NASCAR, and one of them would be Excedrin. Because I work for CVS, and people are always complaining about, like, you guys have no Excedrin on the shelf. That it's not our fault because it's a freaking pandemic.
Listen, a lot you get people. I don't mean to apologize for the language, but people that they just are very impatient. In 2020, it's one thing I've noticed.
Yeah, and also I saw that Friesen's throwing back to his grandfather, who raced.
Where'd you see this?
It's on Friesen.
On his Facebook.
Yeah, Friesen has it's really a different paint scheme from his usual blue Hallmark truck. It's a red truck with not the font's different, which is good. And Biffle has a Ricky Hendrick throwback, the 24 truck.
I'm calling you right now. Biffle's winning this race.
Made a one-off last year at Texas. What happened?
Trevor Bain's making his Truck Series debut.
Yep.
All aboard the Bain train.
Yep.
Yeah, freaking start playing the Thomas the Tank Engine theme until he goes smacking into the wall.
And Natalie Decker's not in the race. Bailey Curry's in that 44 truck.
Yeah, a person who actually deserves that truck more.
Yeah, like Natalie's just.
I mean, definitely the less amount of cautions compared to 2019. But
she was running in the 20s near Norm Benning. That's a problem. She was running towards Norm Benning.
David Gill. And you know what's more sad is that Tyler Ankrum, who I think ran 5 races up until his first win, gets his first win compared to Natalie. Wasn't that the same race where she flipped Spencer Boyd's hat off his head?
Yep, at Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I hardly remember. It feels like ages ago.
I remember that. I'm like, wow.
GGR Crosby Racing has certainly turned the table for the better after 2019, and now they're working with the Gray brothers and Haley Deegan.
Another thing I wanted to point out, though, when you guys mentioned Stuart Friesen, it's kind of disappointing to see how he's running this year, how he's still adjusting to that Toyota, how Halmar is still struggling with the Toyota. Supposedly what I heard is that it's a Kyle Busch alliance. I don't think it's an alliance at all. I think they're doing it right out of the pocket.
Yeah, because they're not fast compared. Last year, it was a full GMS. Like before, it was a full GMS when he was with Chevy. After 2017, it was a full alliance with equipment GMS had, and that's how he was fast. That's how Friesen was fast. But right now,
yeah, I mean, like my friend who I mentioned before, who I was watching the 500 with, who was like a diehard Priest fan. He's also a really big Stuart Friesen fan. And he says that when you put Stuart in a dirt car, he wins. But you put Stuart in this Toyota, he can't even lead a freaking lap.
Yeah, like
I'm not trying to say anything bad about Toyota, but I just think it was a big mistake for them switching to Toyota.
Yeah,
maybe it's for the long term. I mean, that's the thing. Toyota has really the fewest amount of teams, but the largest amount of drivers in development.
That's true.
They're trying to get to the Cup Series. Well, I was just talking about the Cup Series there.
Yeah, like they had too many drivers in the Toyota program. Like many. But it's also the same thing with like.
Wait, oh, sorry, you go ahead.
I was thinking about like Toyota has too many drivers. Ford has some, and Chevy has some, but Toyota has too many drivers for less amount of teams.
Yeah, but you look at it though. Toyota has a lot of Truck Series teams and drivers.
Yeah,
like a decent amount in the Xfinity Series, but there's only like 2 or 3 freaking Toyota teams in Cup. Next year, it's only going to be 2.
Yep.
But the doors are open for another current team to move to Toyota. And become that second team, that Michael Waltrip Racing team, one that is going to be stable for the long term. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, a couple of days ago, I texted Ian about something, and I think it's kind of like, to me, it sounds kind of right. I think if you notice how all these Toyota teams since 2011, starting with Red Bull Racing, has been leaving NASCAR and stuff, I have a strange feeling that it's Toyota and TRD paying those guys to close up shop so they can have Joe Gibbs Racing as the only Cup Series Toyota team. Think about it. You have Michael Waltrip Racing that closed down. Furniture Row
Michael
Racing.
Waltrip Racing had a scandal.
No, but then you have Furniture Row Racing that closed down the year after they won a championship. I understand Barney Visser was going through health problems, but he also said it was something because he accomplished everything he wanted to win. He didn't win the Daytona 500. That's one thing he's always wanted to win. I feel like TRD paid him a lot of money to retire and to sell his team. That way they can have Joe Gibbs Racing as the only Toyota team in NASCAR. I wouldn't be surprised.
He tells me that all the time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gaunt Brothers shuts down within a year or two.
They're not even factory supported every race.
Well, they still run Toyotas. They don't switch manufacturers like
Right, but they don't get the factory support.
Well, Rick Ware Racing's Chevy, and then like literally
Not
the
to-
50.
Not to mention they acquired Premium Motorsports.
Yeah, like
Rick Ware Racing is like turning into a monopoly, or buying everything.
The old buzzard has enough money to buy teams left and right, but he can't even freaking make it. He can't even make a nice engine that will turn laps for more than like 100 laps,
Or just get simple factory support.
or
Or
to have
like-
brake orders that don't explode.
oh my. Well, JJ Yaley. Well, people said Rick Ware lasted long. No, Yaley only lasted 3 laps before blowing an engine. On lap 3 of 100 scheduled 160 laps. So Rick Ware's equipment.
Yeah, I have a good meme for Rick Ware Racing. If you've seen SpongeBob, did somebody say boom?
Yes, I forgot. You guys, if you know SpongeBob memes just like I do.
Yeah, it's
Has
true.
all.
I mean, it's true. I mean, the freaking brake rotor. That's a perfect. Did
Yeah.
somebody say boom? And they
Yeah.
flying across the freaking racetrack.
Yeah.
Oh.
I felt bad for
All
James
right.
David.
Yeah, I hate it for them. Anyway, thank you guys for making me crash into the live stream. Hopefully I can be on more often. I'll see what I can do. And thanks for having me. I know you guys didn't expect me, but hopefully
It's a
I'll be
good
on
surprise, man.
whenever I can.
Thanks for coming, Ian.
Hey, no problem. Nick, I hope you're enjoying this podcast.
I am.
All right. You guys have a good night. See you guys for reactions whenever.
Yeah.
See you later.
Check him out.
Yeah.
Subscribe to him. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's finish covering the races that we have still for this weekend. We're not even done yet. Let's get into sports cars. The European Le Mans Series is pretty much the IMSA of Europe. You got most of the teams that. The thing with sports car racing is that there's no one sole specific sanctioning body that teams really stick to. It's the races that they attend.
Yeah.
But there are still incentives for winning a championship and getting a good points finish. United Autosports, the American team that has an alliance with McLaren, Zach Brown, of course, is one of the people behind the wrenches and the management that's putting this program together. They have continued their dominance. They are perfect in the ELMS in 2020, winning again for the third week in a row, second week in a row for second in a row for ELMS, but third in a row if you count the 6 hours of Spa. The Le Castel 240 was round 3 of 5 yesterday. The number 22 United Autosport, Phil Hansen, Philippe Albuquerque win from pole in dark, rainy conditions. Just another case of, I don't know. I can't make an analogy. I have nothing to say. They're too good. G-Drive Racing finished second once again. Number 26. Number 39, Graf finished third. The number 31, Panis Racing finished fourth. And the number 25, Algraf Pro Racing finished fifth. And LMP3, the number 8 Real Team Racing finished first over the number 3 United Autosport in second. The number 13 Inter Europol Competition finished third. The number 15 RLRM Sport fourth. And fifth is the number 10 Nielsen Racing. And LMGTE, which are cars in privateer GTE specs, meaning that they race in the GT-AM class in the WEC and the 24 Hours of Le Mans, had 7 cars entered. all except for one were Ferraris. Number 55 Spirit of Race, Ferrari finished first. The rest are Ferraris. So second was the number 77 Proton Competition Porsche, and then the rest were Ferraris. So the number 83 finished third. The number 74 Kessel Racing fourth. The number 60 Iron Lynx finished third and fifth for them. Number 51 AF Corsa Ferrari sixth, and the number 66 JMW Motorsport finished seventh. They'll be back on October 11th after the 24 hours of Le Mans for the 4 hours of Monza around 4 or 5. That's going to be very interesting. I have not seen any updated points for that, so apologies for their when we get there. All right, let's talk about some other races that happened. Regional events. Starting with ARCA, the Gateway 150 was on Saturday for around 13 of 18. Won by Ty Gibbs. He led 109 laps over Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Max McLaughlin, and Jesse Love ran up your top 5, finishing 15th. Many laps down after contact, leading 11 laps, was Michael Self.
Yep.
Point standings look like this. Michael Self has the championship lead decreased after that incident on Saturday, 621 points. That's 7 points ahead of privateer driver Brett Holmes, 614 points. Drew Dollar is third with 572 points. Haley Deegan is 2 points back at fourth, 570 points. And Tad Moffitt is fifth with 499 points. They'll be back this weekend at the Lebanon I-44 Speedway in Missouri for round 13 of 18.
I've given up.
As for the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour.
Wait, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Giving up on ARCA. Why is that?
Because it's just.
I want to hear what.
No, because think about it. 2014, you had Frank Kimmel, you had Cunningham Motorsports, you had all the other teams like Lira Motorsports. It was exciting. You had Gen 4 cars, unknowns running up front. Now it's literally nothing but Venturini Toyota dominance and Gibbs dominance. Literally, they should just rename it the ARCA Toyota Series.
Yeah, because Brett Holmes and Sam Mayer are the only winners with Chevy. Ford,
mind you, they are part-time drivers.
Chad Bryant Racing.
Yeah, they're like the. It's like.
Here's the thing.
It's like it's also like the thing about different things like people are saying that Joe Gibbs is cheating. I don't know how, but like I'm like, how are they cheating?
They just have a better team.
But I'm saying like
you're reading comments on Facebook and Twitter. That's the problem.
But they say the engines cheat. I'm like, well, Venerini has the same Toyota engines in their cars, and they're not doing like Gibbs, so they're not cheating. It's just Ty Gibbs has talent.
It's also the same guys. It's also literally the same guys winning every weekend. It's like the F1 of stock car racing.
Okay, let me just say that.
Wait, what? Sorry.
The programs in Chevy and Ford are somewhat weak. GMS Racing doesn't invest much other than Sam Mayer, but Ford has somewhat of a castle that's being built right now. I don't know how strong it is. We haven't seen much from them, but I mean, DGR Crossley Racing was a Toyota team. Now they're Fords. They are the top 4 team. Well, talking ARCA wise, but still say to see the Grays or Haley Deegan or Tam Moffitt win a race.
But just if you were saying about people on Facebook are bad, you know, I saw this earlier. You know, Harvick has a contract through 2023. Guess what somebody said who's going to drive the 4 car in 2024?
Oh my God.
Haley Deegan. I'm like, she's not ready.
No.
If it happened, first and foremost,
does not deserve it. Is not ready. Does not have the talent for it.
Yeah, like
Ford drivers. First of all, Haley Deegan could use another season or two in ARCA trucks. Yeah. I think right now it's not the time. The pandemic gets in the way, and here we are.
Yeah, but people
and also there are other Ford drivers like Chase Briscoe and that
Yeah, Chase
that could
Briscoe.
definitely take over that seat.
Like, you see Chase Briscoe, what is he doing? Second in
Austin
points?
Cindric, but he might go to sports car racing. That's the thing.
But, like, Chase Briscoe, he's showing his potential. He could be in the Cup Series. It's like the people that said that Haley Deegan was ready for Cup next year to replace Eric Jones. I'm like, one, she's not in Toyota. Two, you don't go from ARCA to Cup.
Racing isn't going to happen.
Like, you don't go from ARCA to Cup.
I mean, also,
I think it's just a matter of fans being simps on social media.
Yep.
Also, you mentioned Chase Briscoe. I think he's going to the 32 next year in alliance with Stewart Haas Racing.
Could be because LaJoy is out of a ride. So
I have a silly season thing here. If you don't mind me sharing it,
Go ahead.
if I can find it. Damn, I can't find it anywhere. But I did find one that Plan B Sales did, and it seems pretty legit. Where the heck is it?
like,
Oh my god, I hate this phone so much.
like
Sorry if I'm holding you guys up.
yeah, like there's so many things with NASCAR, like fans of drivers that are fans because of other reasons, like those 30-year-olds, or the people that don't know anything about racing.
One person I know basically says that like they're so dumb. It's a person I went to school with. They said that Denny Hamlin's gonna retire within 2 years. Harvick's gonna retire at the end of this year. Kyle Busch is gonna race until he's in his 60s. I'm like, you're just. I'm like, who are you?
Oh my gosh! Yeah, Kyle Busch racing until he's 60.
Here's one thing for sure: Kyle Busch is still just 35 years of age.
What? You think he'll be in the Cup Series in 2045?
No.
I mean, look at Herschel McGriff. He made a K&N start at 90.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, we're going to talk about the very first race he ran 70 years ago. When we go into race previews about the Southern 500, let's talk about one more race before we get into race previews. That would be the Whelen Modified Tour at Monadnock for round 5 of 10. Justin Bonsignor led 25 laps en route to winning over Ron Silk. Ron Silk led 114 laps. Kobe third, Anthony Ocella fourth, Ronnie Williams fifth, and John McKennedy, who finished 9th, led 61 laps. Justin Bonsignor. So now we're in points. Justin Bonsignor points wise 222 points over Doug Kobe. 206. Craig Lutz and John McKennedy are tied with 192 points. Third and fourth. And Dave Sapienza is fifth with 182
not
points.
a bad run for Sapienza. I mean, Sapienza, he's actually in his 50s.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yep.
And finishing last place, not surprised, is Melissa Fifield. You got Jeremy Gershner. He was supposed to run, but he withdrew from the race.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to point out too is that you have Kyle Bonsinger running too. He's Justin's cousin, and honestly, in his career he has 25 starts with 1 win and 4 top 5s. He actually has a lot of potential.
Yeah. Yeah, he's driving his own number 22. Like, there's so many drivers in the modifieds that just randomly run good. Like there's so many drivers from different age groups.
That's what makes the modified tour what it is.
I mean, the person that they honored this week, Wade Cole. He ran before he passed away. He was he was 66, ran 371 starts, and he for 34 years he never got a win. No top 5s and 7 top 10s.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
but
dedication, though,
and
regardless
this,
of what people
yeah,
say about records.
and
They'll be
also
back.
it's like people like there's other people that are young, like Sam Ramo. He's 18. He has 22 starts and 4 top tens. It's like there's different ages. Like Justin Bonsinger and Doug Colby with many wins, and people that just
Unlike
are
NASCAR
starting out.
2005 Chase for the Cup or NASCAR 06,
Yeah, it's not.
always the kickstart to a Cup Series career, while it is a
Yeah,
true longevity of a
Yeah.
dedicated racing division. Modified racing.
The modified tour, it's like one big family. It's like whenever I go to Riverhead, all the drivers, when they're at the autograph sessions, they're all sitting side by side with each other. They're all talking, laughing, and smiling with each other, interacting with the fans. It's like that's just the kind of series that I think every sport should be like. It's just united as one and having fun, and not just being all competitive.
Yeah.
They'll be back this weekend for the Thompson 150 round 6 of 10.
That's actually on Wednesday.
Wednesday, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Then they head to Riverhead in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be fans a lot so you could go.
Oh, I hope so.
All right. Now we're finally into race previews. It took us about 2 hours, 20 minutes, but finally we were going to talk about some race previews. All right. We'll start it off with the NASCAR Cup Series. They'll be having the Darlington Southern 500, 70-year anniversary of the inaugural Southern 500. Round 27 of 6 playoffs. The round of 16, race 1 of 3. NASCAR Xfinity Series, Darlington 200, round 23 of 33. The Truck Series will have a 200-mile race at Darlington as well, round 15 of 23. Formula One Italian Grand Prix, round 8 of 17. F2 will be there as well for week 8 of 12. Supercars, Townsville SuperSprint Part 2 for week 8 of 11, rounds 22, 23, and 24, the 31 race season. This is an update, of course, with the new races announced. As for sports cars, IMSA has the 6 hours of Road Atlanta. It's the first time that they're having a 6-hour race at Road Atlanta for round 6 of 11. So let's start off with the NASCAR Cup Series, Southern 500. Obviously, this track, 500-mile racing at this place has happened for 70 years. And Eric Jones won the race last year. First race was in 1950, won by Johnny Mance in a car that would be perfect for just going on the interstate.
Well, it had it had truck tires.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah,
He
and
won by.
according to rumors too in that race is that pit crews ran into the parking lot and raised tires. Yeah, so imagine walking to your car after the race and realizing that your car is just sitting on the rim.
Your car is the car you drove to, raced, and drove home with. That's how NASCAR worked in 1950. And
But
one of those drivers.
I meant like the teams literally went out to the parking lot and
Take tires from the passenger's car.
They literally took it from the fans' cars.
It's like
If you did that today, that would A, not work, and B, throw you in jail.
And it was Mance won that race by 9 laps.
And also, one thing I want to point out about that first race is the only person I think still alive from that race is Herschel McGriff.
Yeah, he's
Herschel
Yeah, I'm
McGriff
gonna-
drove the car he raced
Yep.
from Oregon, way outside of anywhere near stock car racing at his time, to South Carolina because he found an ad on the paper saying major stock car race. Here's payout. Show up, race.
Yeah.
Finish top 10.
Oregon to.
I watched a documentary with it was Herschel McGriff and Ned Jarrett back in the 80s.
Also, one more thing I want to point out about that first Darlington race. A guy in that race who finished in 4th place who never gets any recognition for anything. 1950 Cup Series champion Bill Rexford finished 4th place in the first Darlington race, and to this day he still gets no recognition for what he's done in NASCAR.
Second ever champion.
No, not only that, he has made 36 starts. He has eight top 5s, 17 top 10s, a pole, led 98 laps, and only has one win to his name.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Let's go on. Here's the record numbers for wins. Most wins, Jeff Gordon with 6. Kelly Yarbrough with 5. Bobby Allison has 4 wins. And these drivers have 3 wins. Herb Thomas, Buck Baker, David Pearson, Dale Earnhardt, and Bill Elliott. And these drivers have 2 wins. Fireball Roberts, Harry Gant, Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, and Denny Hamlin. As for teams, Hendrick Motorsports has the most wins at 11. Joe Gibbs Racing has 7 wins. And these teams have 4 wins, including Junior Johnson and Associates, Roush Fenway Racing, the Wood Brothers, and for teams with 3 wins, Herb Thomas and Richard Childress Racing, and then the rest have 2 of those teams, including Holman Moody, Rich and Howard Melling Racing, and Team Penske. For manufacturers, Chevy holds the number with 27 wins compared to Ford. Ford has 15, and then down the list, Toyota with 7. And for defunct manufacturers, Mercury with 5, Oldsmobile 4, Dodge with 3, Hudson, Plymouth, Buick, and Pontiac with 2 wins, and AMC with 1. So there are the numbers. 70-year anniversary of the Southern 500. At that time, that was the super speedway outside of Indy.
Oh, yes.
Who's going to win this classic on Sunday?
I'm just gonna go on a whim, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Harvick. I just have a strange feeling.
Whew, okay. My pick, this driver, he's run a total of 13 Darlington races in his career. He has 1 victory, 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and 12 top 20s. He has an average start of 9.9. He has a throwback to himself in 2010. The driver of the number 2 discount tire Ford, Brad Keselowski, is going to win at Darlington 2 years after his last Darlington win in 2018.
Breaking the drought for Team Penske.
Yep.
All right, this driver right here is going to make it to the round of 12 after surprisingly going winless from the season championship. He has a Southern 500 win back when it was in May with the Indiana Jones paint scheme. This driver is none other than Kyle Busch. He's going to run all the laps and win this race.
Maybe with the Elliott Sadler paint scheme will work. Maybe the Elliott's and the number font is the same as Elliott Sadler. Maybe that's going to bring him luck. Maybe. We'll see. Because it's 367 laps, long race, 500 miles. It's going to be a long race. And I checked. Oregon to Darlington is about 2,700 miles. So, yeah. I just want to know.
Something else.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, let's hear your predictions.
For Darlington, like I said, I think Harvick is going to I think he's going to flat out dominate it. But like 2014, that was like an upset. I thought Dale Jr. had that race won until that final restart. But I think from the drop of the green flag to the checkered flag, it's going to be Harvick winning. And I think if somebody's going to challenge him for the win, it's obviously going to either be Hamlin, who's trying to go for
his third.
Yeah, his third. And I see Kyle Busch being a factor early on, but I think he's going to have trouble on pit road. Maybe get held up by lap traffic that will take him out of contention. I mean, remember last year he had the race won last year until he hit the wall and dropped back. But I just see Harvick riding away with it.
All right. So for Darlington in the Cup Series, let's move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series Darlington 200, round 23-33. This year, Chase Briscoe won. Last year, it was Cole Custer. Say what you want. A win is a win. First year, Jeffrey Bodine won in the inaugural organized NASCAR Busch Series season in 1982. And as for the record, Mark Martin holds the number for most wins at 8 over Denny Hamlin, who will be in this race with 5, in his mind is six wins. Jeff Burton and Harry can't have 4 wins apiece. Jeffrey Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Matt Kenseth, 3 wins. Ron Bouchard, Kyle Busch, Dale Jarrett, Robert Presley, and Darrell Waltrip have 2 wins. As for most team wins for the fall race at Darlington, Joe Gibbs Racing holds the number with 10 wins over Rashomon Racing with 7, and Hendrick Motorsports, Alliance Motorsports, and JR Motorsports have 2 wins, respectively. As for our manufacturers, for the fall race at Darlington, Chevy has 12 wins over Ford with 10, Toyota with 7, Pontiac with 5, Oldsmobile 2, and Buick with 1. So there's the numbers. As I watch the Boston Bruins throw the season away.
Okay. I got my pick. Okay. This driver, he was close to winning Darlington in May. He has a throwback to his owner that drove this paint scheme in 2003, which that paint scheme led every lap at Daytona. Driver the number 7, Justin Allgaier, is going to win his first race at Darlington.
This is going to be pretty tough for Darlington. I see Denny Hamlin. He's going to obviously be up front with his performance at Darlington over the years. But I kind of see Noah Gragson maybe winning it.
All right. So for this race, Denny Hamlin got DQ'd last year. Kyle Busch was the driver Chase Briscoe fended off to win in the spring. So what does that mean? Well, if you think about it, Chase Briscoe could fend off Denny Hamlin. Wrong. Hamlin's going to redeem and win this year, but it's going to be against Chase Briscoe. If Hamlin doesn't win or gets DQ'd or something, Chase Briscoe's going to win. I'm going to cheat with 2 predictions here. Okay, screw it. I'm going with Hamlin. Going to take the easy way out. All right, NASCAR Truck Series, Darlington this weekend, round 15 of 23. Here's some facts. Casey Kane won the last race back in 2011. It's been 9 years since Casey Kane, and Justin said his computer crashed, which is no good.
Okay, so anyway, you said Casey Kane won the last truck race there.
Yes, back in 2011. First race was in 2001. Bobby Hamilton scored the win, and the only drivers with multiple wins include Bobby Hamilton and Casey Kane. Only teams that have multiple wins include Bobby Hamilton Racing and Ultra Motorsports. So for manufacturers, Dodge leads the list with 4 wins over Toyota with 2. It's not much
Didn't Kane win the last race driving for Kyle Busch?
Yes, 2011.
Honestly,
Kane was a Toyota.
I see this truck race kind of being a snooze fest. But I think it's also going to be a bit of a wreck fest because obviously half these guys, actually the whole field minus 3 people, don't know how to have them race there before. 4 people because you have David Reagan who's also racing too.
Greg Biffle. Throw him in there.
No, you have Biffle, Bain, Reagan, and Crafton and Sauter. Those are the only guys in the field that actually know how to race at Darlington.
I'm reading off the entry list. We got 34 trucks. So for the Truck Series at Darlington, I'm going to go. I'm going to go with Greg Biffle. Biffle is a 2-time Southern 500 winner.
Yeah, and out of all those guys that I named, he's the only guy with the win. So I just see Greg Biffle pulling that Ricky Hendrick truck into victory lane.
Yeah, Ricky Hendrick throwback. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Justin, his computer crashed. Go on.
Yeah, if he wins that race in the Ricky Hendrick truck, I feel like it's going to be an emotional one for Rick Hendrick.
think it will be. All right. Let's move on down. Formula One. It's Dustin when I need him the most. We talk Formula One now. He's his computer side too.
I mean, I'm just gonna give my prediction, even though I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna just say Lewis Hamilton's winning.
Lewis Hamilton. But let's go with some facts here. The Italian Grand Prix, race 8 of 17. First race was actually held back in 1950, the first ever World Championship race. That was won by Giuseppe Farina. Charles Leclerc won last year. Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher have the most wins at 5 at Ferrari's home at Monza. Nelson Piquet has 4 wins. Juan Manuel Fangio, Sterling Moss, Ronnie Peterson, Alain Prost, Rubens Barrichello, and Sebastian Vettel have 3 wins each, while Alberto Ascari, Phil Hill, John Surtees, Jackie Stewart, Clay Regazzoni, Niki Lauda, Ayrton Senna, Damon Hill, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Fernando Alonso have 2 wins. And for constructors, obviously Ferrari at home, 19 wins, including last year. Probably not this year. McLaren with 10, Mercedes with 7, Williams with 6, Lotus Lotus has 5, BRM, also known as British Racing Motors, Brabham, they have 3, Maserati, Vanwall, Renault, Red Bull, they have 2. Obviously, I think I'm just going with Lewis Hamilton. But as for points paying position, there has to be eyes on Daniel Ricciardo, Lando Norris. Those 2 drivers have done a lot in equipment that is not the greatest. They set them back. Unfortunately, I would go on about this topic with Justin, who's more into Formula One than Nick is. Nick is just a guest here to talk NASCAR. But there's that. IMSA has the race at Atlanta this weekend. I'm just going to go with Team Penske on that, because you need a lot of experience there. The 6-hour race is actually the second race of the Michelin Endurance Cup. This race will replace the Watkins Glen event, one in which I was actually thinking about going to, but then the pandemic happened. With that said, Trevor Bayne, how about this? Trevor Bayne is going to be in the Truck Series race.
Not only is he doing that, he's making his Truck Series debut.
Wow. Trevor Bayne is the 2011 winner of the Daytona 500, one of the most unlikely of stories in that time. It was his first start in the 500, second in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Youngest Daytona 500 winner.
Age of 20.
Who else? You got David Reagan, who's making his first truck start in
Justin, thank you.
time.
Justin's almost there. I can't click him in just yet. His device is not connected. But yeah, David Reagan, Trevor Bayne, Greg Biffle. All 3 of them were once teammates through the Roush staple in the early 2010s.
Yep.
All right, Justin is almost here. I can click him in the stream. How about now?
Oof, my computer.
Yeah, I know an easy way to fix it.
Like, I don't know why tonight, but any other time I use my computer, it's fine. It's just tonight, I guess it wanted to be in a pain. So
Well, if it happens again, I know an easy way to fix it.
What is it?
just,
You want a baseball bet?
I was about to say, before my computer decided to shut down, I was about to say there's only 8 drivers that ever ran in the Truck Series at Darlington with average finishes.
Wait, who are the other 3? I know Crafton, Sauter, Biffle, Bayne, and Reagan are 5 drivers. Who are the other 3?
No, I mean for Truck Series drivers.
Oh.
You have Crafton, Almirola, Austin Dillon, Ryan Sieg, Parker Klickerman, Harvick Gahn, and Jeffrey Earnhardt. My truck pick, for me, my truck pick, this driver drives for the This driver, he has no wins this season. He drives for Thor Sport. Still looking for a win. Driver of the number 99, Ben Rhodes, is going to win.
Ben Rhodes. I have Greg Biffle. I'm just a huge fan of Greg Biffle. Always excited to see something like this happen. He's back. Blue Jimmy 48 fan. How's it going there, Blue Jimmy?
Haven't heard that
subscribe to the channel. He says,
Whoa!
breaking Germain Racing may cease operation at the end of 2020.
What did you say?
Germain Racing
might cease.
Oh my God!
Now listen, Germain Racing has been in NASCAR for about 15 years. They picked up what was left of Arnold Motorsports.
Yep.
NASCAR's Cup Series and the Truck Series, where they found most success, including 2 championships with veteran driver Todd Bodine, 2006 and 2010.
Don't forget Ted Musgrave was also one of the drivers. He was pretty decent, but he couldn't get that championship.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he was actually pulled out of the truck due to a controversy, if you remember. I think it was Milwaukee ran over driver.
Oh, yeah, it was
Kelly Byron.
Yeah. So they put Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, I always wonder what would happen though if Musgrave didn't have that controversy. How would Keselowski be today?
Yeah, because Keselowski was running for his dad's team for K Automotive. It's number 29, and other teams, and in the Busch Series in the 23 car.
Keith Coleman Racing.
Yeah, they were backmarker team. Yeah, he was running for the backmarkers until he got his opportunity driving the 9, which he was running on front until Travis Quapple spun him out with 16 to go.
I have to see where things go. I mean, from here on, there's a lot of talk about silly season and
And like Corey LaJoie's not returning. Eric Jones, we don't know where he's gonna go. So many drivers that we don't know where they're gonna be.
Wait, what'd you say? You broke up.
I was saying about like there's so many drivers. In like silly season, there's like drivers that know where they're going. Some drivers have no ride, like Eric Jones and Corey LaJoie have no ride, and
I mean, Plan B Sales posted a really pretty accurate silly season. I don't know if you saw it. Like, it says that Matt Kenseth's going to retire at the end of the season.
I do see that because 48 years old.
They're saying, they also say that Bubba Wallace will go to the 42 with McDonald's sponsorship. They say Eric Jones is going to the 43 car. Clint Boyer will go to the commentary booth.
Yeah.
Larson goes to the 14. Almirola goes to the 32. And Briscoe goes to the 10.
Possible.
I just think Clint Boyer deserves his own talk show. Like, because he's just hysterical.
Yep.
Especially with that little friggin' dance he did for Mobile One.
Yeah. I remember that dance. Like, there's
don't be conventional.
There's so many things with Clint Boyer. Like, there's interviews where he's just plain funny. Like, once for NASCAR's YouTube channel, there was a thing at Martinsville, 10-minute tour. He was interviewing a fan that was sleeping for some reason. Like,
there's a lot of funny moments with NASCAR drivers. Like, remember the old Coca-Cola Racing family commercials?
Yep, I remember those ones.
I love the I think it was the last one where they pull into the gas station and like, do they expect us to do it? And then Danica gets pissed off and she just slams the door of the gas station open.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I miss Danica so much.
Yeah.
I
that was
miss
some
her.
marketing.
Wait, what?
That was some good marketing back then.
It's the same thing
Yeah,
when
and what bothers me too about that commercial franchise is that they never finished the road trip.
they never finished it.
Well, just has a scratch in our heads. I know this weekend's pretty big.
So
We got IMSA, got 6 hours of Road Atlanta. I have Penske on that. I have Hamilton for
I don't.
F1.
Well, for me, Hamilton. I have Hamilton for F1. That's not hard, and for IMSA.
Not hard until the other teams get their what together.
Well, for me, IMSA. I have Mazda's number 55.
What about the
Mazda
other
Motorsports.
classes?
I have for LMP2. I have the PR1 Matheson number. Wait, you said Dragon Speed?
If they're racing, I'll pick them.
No, they're not racing. There's Era Motorsports, Performance Tech, and PR1 Matheson. There's only 3.
I guess Performance Tech would be my pick. I mean, they're pretty decent.
I have
for GTLM, I'll take Porsche on that.
for me GTLM. I have the number 4 Corvette, and then for me GTD. Ooh,
I have the 12 Lexus.
I have the number. Oh, jeez.
Give me 1 second, please. Be right back.
Okay. I have the number 44 GRT Magnus Lamborghini. Like I never expected my computer to freeze. Like, when it froze, there was the first time I saw an error message. Usually there's no error message, but I'm like, error message. I'm like, contact Windows. I'm like, I'm not contacting Windows. I don't know. Why would I contact them?
It's a scam.
It's just like, oh,
Justin, now that you're here, because
yeah.
I missed this conversation with you. Now that we have 17 races left, or for the Formula One World Championship 2020,
Yeah.
there are now tracks that are announced. We have learned over this week that that Istanbul
Yep.
circuit, the Turkish Grand Prix, will be
Yep.
ran for the first time in 9 years. Then Bahrain will have a doubleheader. For the first race, the traditional Bahrain International Circuit will be used, and then for the second week, for a race that's called the Sakir Grand Prix, a faster, more circular circuit will be used. They make fun of the word oval. They use it. It doesn't look anywhere near like an oval to me, but maybe to them it does, because they don't do too much oval racing in overseas.
I guess expected. That's interesting. The FIA expects the F1 car to run about a 55-second lap time, because it's a real if Mercedes does 55-second lap time, what does Ferrari do?
53.
No, there'll be in the 1 minute something if they do a 50. Well,
I'm thinking downwards. The other thing.
Well, it's like the people that said, "Oh, Williams, long life dream to run with Ferrari," but in the back, not where they were back then in the front. No, they're running in the back for like 15th through 20th. It's like, and like I remember somebody said the only way Ferrari could get any other position than to be in the points is leaving early from Spa to race at Monza.
Start the race early while they're still making to the track.
Yeah, I don't.
Fans are funny. WTF1 has some memes. I would definitely.
It's the same thing with the people that said Leclerc was stopped at McDonald's drive-thru at Spain.
Yeah, with broken ice cream machines. Okay. Abu Dhabi is going to conclude the F1 World Championship in 2020. That's the last race.
Literally December 11th to 13th. The 13th. That weekend is literally December 11th is 2 weeks before Christmas.
Justin, where'd you go? Justin, hello. We don't hear Justin right now if he's talking. Either it's me or it's him. Well, we gotta wait, I guess, until Justin comes back. I think that must have been him. Nick is not around, but I guess we're at a good stopping point for the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I want to thank everyone for joining the podcast here, for watching, and I guess it's time for a send-off. We're almost 3 hours in. I want to eat dinner. I guess the Boston Bruins are pretty much done. I mean, we're going to overtime, but it seems like they have a chance to win this thing and continue on. But I have no idea if that's going to happen. No Rask, no Bueno. Justin and Nick are having connection problems. I had connection problems, but I'm still here. And I think this is a good stopping point for the Below the Yellow Line podcast. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. I'm going to cover everything that motorsports has to offer. For my partners, Daniel Ford, Justin Hebert, and myself, I'm Joe Lanny Pavlon. Thanks to NASCAR Nick 2488 for joining the podcast. Subscribe to his channel. His link is in the description below. And have a good night.